everybody, and welcome to this episode of It's Your Birthday, the only podcast that gets you a gift every single week, and this week is no different. And that gift, as always, is video games. From the TV screen to your living room to the developer's house to Google to Amazon and above, video games are everywhere in our lives today. I'm your host, Kelly Workman, and I'm joined as always by Christian Langton. Christian, what's up, my boy?
Hey man, it's doing. It's very doing. I like the thing that you said with the from Google to Amazon, because that's two companies you see a lot of crossover. Yeah. They're what made me sell my PC. I'm streaming on a Stadia right now.
So you're not even paying attention to the podcast. You're just game streaming right now.
No, I mean, yeah, like the whole setup. I sold the PC and, I was able to, I'm basically using a bunch of trickery with a phone for the camera, but what you're seeing right here is in Stadia. It's insane.
Oh, you're inside of Stadia currently.
I'm inside of it.
You've nested inside of it like a loose bird or something. You've nested inside of Stadia's platform. That's great.
It's pretty cool. Like, if you didn't know already, you can play Cyberpunk the minute it releases.
The very second that it is available for humans.
The very second. So why even have a computer? Why even have
realistically,
one?
If you have Stadia and a VPN, you might be able to change your location to where it's unlocked already. And be able to play it.
That's the thing. It's globally that time tomorrow, because it releases in Poland at midnight, and so that 6 p.m. time for us. So there is no getting it early out there.
Some people on the preload were going, "Oh yeah, we got 30 minutes left." So it's like it launches 30 minutes here. So, I mean, I don't think they're right, but I don't know.
Yeah, because they did release those global times. So who knows? But hey. We're in Stadia. I mean, I'm in Stadia.
I'm not gonna move there. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't care to relocate to Stadia. I put it into deep consideration and heavy thought, and I've decided that I won't be doing that.
That's fine.
I'm anti Stadia as a living situation.
I mean, it's weird because Google like a couple weeks ago sent me some sweatpants and like a white Google T-shirt. Something about this commune they're starting like in Silicon Valley, and like they're inviting all these like Stadia fans over. They promised me that if I didn't transcend to the next level, that I could stay behind and manage the website.
Great!
So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I would be too. Now, is there any disclaimer that whenever they shut down Stadia, you have to give back the sweatpants because they've going to cut all ties with that ever happening or ever existing? Stadia was sort of a lost memory to them, like a lot of their other services.
There's 3 levels, okay? There's 3 levels of the Stadia cult.
I mean, which one gets commune. Which one gets you the sick Adidas? Which one is that? Or perhaps the Nikes?
So it's stage 2, and they're Pumas. And
that's
once you slip the Pumas on, you go into stage 3, which is you transcend into Stadia, as I am now.
Okay, so stage 2 is getting the Pumas. Stage 3 is putting them on.
No. It's after you put them on in stage 2. I mean, you could consider it like a step 2.5 in the equation.
It's the period on step 2 you closing your step 2 chapter by putting on adorning your glorious Pumas.
I mean, you never just get a pair of Pumas and not wear them. Like
you never really just. It is always ceremonial when you put on your Pumas. It's never just putting shoes on. It's quite the experience. Sort of how I felt putting any high top shoe on. It's sort of a here we go. It's more of a. Oh, I gotta get ready. Give me a second. I gotta sit down for this one. I can't just slide these bad boys on.
There's something about putting these shoes on and the need to play some basketball. It's really driving me insane.
And I think as soon as you put it on, your mouth automatically gets a bit parched too, and you're sort of looking for a punch bowl somewhere. Like you're like, I gotta drink something, right? What's weird? I was so thirsty. I just drank a gallon of water, but for some reason, I really want punch right now.
I'm real parched. I'm like real fucking
parched. Hey, that's understandable. I get it. I get the Puma's power, you'll say.
Yeah.
Power of the Puma pyramid, I guess maybe we could say.
You and I were texting. I think this was yesterday, and
Negative. We
you
don't
sent
talk
me
outside of this.
Oh, yeah, strictly business. Sorry, I was
It's
talking
all
to
business.
your.
I'm so sorry.
I was talking to your agent that was relaying these messages to me.
Correct.
And,
yeah.
Yeah.
I double as my own agent, so you're speaking to him, but not to me. I want to keep that very clear.
You sent me a screenshot after, because you and I were talking, and when the preload went up, you said it turns out it's a real video game, and I said until I'm in there customizing my penis, I still hold some reservations. And then you said that's actually really big brained. I might have actually jumped the gun here with excitement. And then you sent me a screenshot, which I think was you like searching if what I said was accurate. Like, can you really customize your dick? And
well, let's use proper terminology. You can really sculpt the package.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Let me back up. That
Sculpt
was very
your piece.
crude.
You know what I mean? Depending upon what your piece might be.
Very crude of me.
Sculpt and decorate or adorn your piece. Yeah.
Yes. But the screenshot you sent me was, yes, you'll be able to customize your penis in Cyberpunk 2077 from the Stadia subreddit, which means that Stadia users are the most horny. That's all I'm saying. Like,
because it's the instant gratification, and I think there's the only folks that demand instant gratification are also demanded out of their horniness too. So they got to get it as soon as possible. The instant, no downloads, no preloads, no updates ever. They will have their digital package on hand at all times instantly from anything. You could do a Fire tablet, a Kindle tablet. You could play it on your microwave if you wanted, your smart fridge. I mean, you
that's
can
the
Stadia
thing.
Wherever you want to Stadia.
That's the thing. It's pretty voyeuristic of them to watch their favorite service just get fucked. It's pretty. Oh. It's pretty great when you really put two and two together, and there are a bunch of horny people asking about your package in Cyberpunk 2077.
They're very serious about it. Sometimes you got to if very rarely do we get the option to sort of to create our own digital persona down to every detail, including but not limited to your digital unit. And I think for a lot of people that's really exciting. It's maybe the first time, because a lot of people didn't really play Conan Exile, so maybe the first time for a lot of us, or maybe didn't play Rust, maybe that wasn't their type of game, but for everybody else, it's the first time they get to really dive deep and paint it in. And for some people, it may be the first time they ever get to see a vagina, and that's really cool. Or the first time they ever get to see a pee-pee, and that's cool. Granted, cool. It is a mature title, so you should be at a point in your life where you've already witnessed one or two, but this could be the first introduction to one. And I sort of think it's also grounds to start a fetish very early for a lot of folks. So, some people might not be into robot sex yet, but here we go.
It's literally the future. It's what the game is predicting. So
Bill Burr talked about this in his last special, actually, about robots. They say that there is in the game robot brothels, but those actually already exist, which is pretty wild. I don't know if you've ever heard of these. The interesting thing about the robot brothels that do exist currently is you do have to download like a girlfriend app and sort of like converse with them before you do this thing.
Yeah, because
which I thought was really interesting.
Well, what they don't want is a bunch of sex weirdos going in there and skipping the foreplay immediately. Like, come on, man! If you're gonna be let's get a little less creepy. Like, let's take that down just a little bit. We want, because
otherwise there would be no skills. If it wasn't for robot brothels, there would be no sex weirdos. And this is the first instance ever of a sex weirdo.
What I'm saying is that I don't know. This is like a deeper philosophical thing, I guess. But if we don't start putting a button on okay, these robot brothels exist, right? But at some point, somebody's going to take the emulated version of what they're doing with a robot and translate that into what they feel like is acceptable in society. And there has to be some stopgap there to be okay, we can't just, you don't just go in there and ravage this person immediately without any knowing the person, consenting with the person.
Right. And I agree for actual people, for sure. For the robot thing, though, that means we're getting into the idea a bit more of like sentient AI and stuff. And is that okay? And then also, if that is the case, who is qualified to give the proper limitations on when? Because doesn't that imply then also that you could effectively pay money for that experience and then be denied by the robot, and then what is the situation?
I think if you're
and not to say that you weren't deserving of the rejection,
yeah,
but you're going in with a promise of something else and then being presented with this I guess the thing is like, generally speaking, you'll be going to this place because chances are higher that your experience with proper women is not great. So is this sort of like reinforce that even more? They're like, I know you have struggled with human connection already.
No, I totally.
Now you're struggling with sentient connection as well.
That's the point. That's the entire point. Because I feel like you gotta have some introspection. You gotta look inward and say, maybe it is me. Maybe I'm the weirdo. The ones that I'm talking about. I'm talking about the guys that are like on like r/nice guys, whatever, Reddit, subreddit, and they're just like they're talking of like screenshots in there, and it's just like, I sent you a good morning text 3 days ago, and you won't fucking talk to me, you stupid whore. Or like, right. Hey, I saw you on Instagram. I found your phone number because that's just how the current age works. Can you send me?
And I think that
pictures?
It is definitely malicious behavior, but I don't think that the idea of striking out continually is mutually exclusive to dickheads. I feel like there's definitely proper folks that does happen to.
Okay.
And I concerned for their well-being, I guess, because it's sort of this weird way of spending, like somebody paying to then be hockey checked about their I guess personality via the guise of a service that won't be presented. I don't know. It's a very odd situation, I guess, because I definitely understand the need to have something in place so that their actions with these I don't want to say people because it's a creature, or it's a machine, I guess is maybe the proper way to say it. It is a machine or device used for this task. So it's like it's a I feel like maybe it's a thing where you have to have like a background check or something, right? Like a stability check to
like
go
a license.
In and not a license to plow robots. I'm saying like you need to go in and be like gun ownership, right? Like you need to somehow have like a small test to be like, hey, I realize that this isn't a real person. This is a device used for this, instead of this weird system of like courting, which I can imagine some people probably want the experience of the courting, but I would think, like, I don't know, it just seems very hold
on, I'm gonna see if I can put this up on the stream, because
I was gonna say, man, you're really making a rough Google here that could fuck with YouTube's algorithm pretty hard, depending on what pictures we get.
I think this is what you're talking about.
Yeah, because it's in Texas somewhere. Is the only reason I heard about it. It's like either in Houston or.
You think this is safe? This seems safe. This is just words.
It's the words are probably fine. Yeah, I was worried about imagery mostly because you typed in sex doll at first, and that doesn't seem.
Well, I mean, that's what. Come on. Let's. I'm gonna put it in the most layman term possible. Yeah. So.
No, I know that. I'm just saying, your Google search could net imagery that is this seems fine. Like I was just saying, initially when you were typing it in, I was like, I don't know about that one. That might give us some links somewhere we might not want, or some images that YouTube might not be stoked about.
The brothel, which will be named Eve's Robot Dreams if it opens, is currently in the crowdfunding stage.
Okay, so this is different then, because there is one that is open already, and I believe it is in Texas somewhere.
This is back in 2018, so it may have already opened. Okay,
almost.
Well,
type in Robot Brothel Texas and see what comes up.
Robot Brothel. I love.
Actually, it's already right there. It's the first thing.
I love video games.
I do too. Well, the thing is, this does tie into Cyberpunk though, because these do exist in this game. So I'm curious as to. I mean, I guess we'll know more. So from what I was reading about the Cyberpunk ones, is sort of the idea is you go in there with a robot, and then that memory of your experience is erased as you leave. So it's almost like you never did what you did, which I think is interesting because then it almost sort of, what's the point? I guess is if you're having this experience and then it's removed immediately. Why did you even go in the first place if you don't have any recognition of it happening? Which I think is interesting.
Simulate body warmth.
God, I hate that term already.
They have some degree of AI using the same basic voice recognition technology that's in your phone or an Alexa device.
Oh, cool. So you get to have sex with Siri. That's dope.
And make facial expressions.
Or I guess it said Alexa, so not quite as qualified as Siri. So a little dumber than Siri.
Yeah.
At least it's not Bixby, right? At least it's not the same recognition as Bixby, because then you'd just be arguing with a robot for 4 hours who couldn't understand you.
On the fucking new notes and stuff, they made it to where you can change the Bixby button. Like there was a model or two that came out, and it's like, this is a Bixby button. That's all.
Oh yeah, I had a S9 Plus, and it was the Bixby button. But they eventually let you.
Yeah.
You could do what the different presses did, but at some point it was still Bixby. Like it would still. You couldn't change. You had to have one of the modes of press, either like the double tap, the hold, or something. One of those had to go to Bixby, but the other ways you could change to something else. Like if I double tapped, it went to a camera or whatever. But that was the annoying thing, is like, let me change all of it, because I don't use voice assistant on any phone or device. I don't care. And so being championed into this one was annoying, because actually it's the same thing here. Like if you double press on the iPhone, it gives you your credit card, which I think is weird.
Yeah.
Like it pulls up Apple Pay.
Here in Stadia, we all have our Google Assistant, and it's a lot of fun palling around with your Google Assistant.
Record
that. Video games.
Yeah, let's get into video games. Enough about robot sex. I'm already gonna give it a try.
Let's get into this. Yeah, I mean, come on.
I mean, I wasn't.
I'm not saying I'm a weirdo. That's gonna.
Speaking of sex dolls, Minecraft got ray tracing today.
That's a transition. That's a definite transition here.
I'm transitioning from real women to sex dolls.
Take this news story. Motherfucker.
So yeah, it's coming out of beta finally, which is cool. I'm gonna probably download this today, actually, and maybe mess with this a little bit. Because I tried the beta
of it. It was pretty
it,
cool,
but I haven't tried the. I want to play the real game, because the beta is just like set up environments that you just run through. I want to play the game with this instead of just like a basically glorified like gallery, you know?
Yeah. I thought the pre-made the pre-made stuff they did for that beta stuff was pretty impressive though. Like,
it's great, but that's not why I'm in Minecraft. You know what I mean? I'm there to play the game and build my own shit. Of course. But yeah, no, they were great. Though. I mean, that stadium thing was super cool. There was like a neon city that was really rad. Is that manatees or manatees in this game?
Well, yeah, there's a bunch of sea creatures and shit.
It's been a long time, honestly, since I played. I've played the Switch version a little bit here and there.
Same here.
Which is actually really good. That's a good.
That reminds me though.
Game.
I should get those maps where it's like, oh, we spent 12 years recreating like Gondor in Minecraft, and like, that's probably all the Java edition stuff where you can do those maps, but
Yeah, that's the other thing I don't really understand about Minecraft is that there's like 4 versions. There's the Bedrock version, then there's the Windows 10 version, then there's what because I originally bought Minecraft before it was bought by Microsoft when Mojang had its own platform however many years ago. So whatever version I own is that one.
There was like a minute there where they were like, hey, we're releasing on Microsoft Store and Xbox. Here's a free edition of that game if you own Java. That was like a month maybe where you could redeem that.
I think I did though, because I think I also do have it on the Windows Store. I have a copy of it there, which I didn't buy.
Yeah.
But I think it's that one. But then there's also whatever the Xbox app one is. I don't know if that's the Windows 10 version
it's the same
or
one.
the... Okay.
Yeah. So those are all Bedrock, and then Java is like its own thing. So this stuff is for Bedrock, so you play that there. But like, yeah, doing custom maps and stuff with the RTX would be like my big appeal to it, I think. Like seeing how those worlds translate. But
so because you can't mod the whatever the updated one is the same way, right? Because that one goes, you have to buy the stuff or something. Like there's some packs or some shit a player made. Yeah, it's like how Bethesda does it, right? With like
it's
Fallout
monetized. 4 like it's like all the skins. Like that's the thing, and like Java, Minecraft, like people can create that stuff and just release it as packs, like resource packs. But like with the Bedrock, you're purchasing the resource packs or like getting them for free or like skins.
So then, how do you get a hold? Okay, so then this one is just going to be the
Bedrock
Okay, so the non-Java version is RTX. Okay.
Yeah, because it's built on like it was all ported to like DirectX and everything, so that's why there's like such a difference there. But the Pocket Edition is also in line with the Bedrock Edition.
The Switch will obviously do ray tracing.
Obviously.
Yeah, I can't wait to do that. I'm gonna jump on there in a second. Yeah, I mean, clearly it's designed for that. That's cool though. I'm excited. I'm excited to check this out because it's been something that. I mean, I've always liked Minecraft. I've never spent enough time with it or as much as most other people. But my time with it was always enjoyable. Like I always liked just tooling around in the world there.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah.
I do like that game.
Turns out Minecraft's good. I don't know if you knew that.
Well, I mean, next to Roblox, it's like the biggest game in the world, right? What are the top 3 games in the world right now? Fortnite, Minecraft, Roblox. That's
Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah. I mean, I think we named them all. There's no other video games. Those are the only games.
Modern Warfare, I guess.
I guess.
Or Warzone, maybe specifically. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was so Persona 5 Strikers is their next little deal. It's coming to, I didn't realize it was coming to PC, so I'm excited.
Yeah, it was like a, so there was a leaked YouTube trailer, but there was a tweet that came out that had like a little, Steam icon with like exclamation marks next to it because it was like surprise announce for it.
Yeah.
Because everybody knew this was going to come to PS4 and Switch, but the cool thing is the PC release.
See, and that gives me the reason to not buy the Switch version, unfortunately. Because I would have played this on Switch, but having seen the performance of Hyrule Warriors, I think I'm going to grab this one on PC.
Yeah, man. I wouldn't blame you for that, because it seems cool. I would I still need to go back and play Persona 5 because
they need to put Persona 5 on other places, like the Switch. Like that would be the Switch game I would prefer to get there instead of on the PC. Even though I like to play the PC. It's same with Persona 4 Golden. I wish that was also on Switch because I would probably finish that because I have the PC version of it, but I stopped a couple hours in.
It's not
if it was
like
on Switch, I would finish it.
That's like why, like, and I'll talk about it a little later, but I started playing Dragon Quest on the PC. But like, I find myself not wanting to play RPGs of that style on anything else but a Switch at this point. Like, I don't know.
I never could. If it was a turn-based thing, it had to be a handheld. I didn't like them otherwise.
Yeah. I'm with you there.
It's the idea of like not like it's such a weird sit-down experience at the computer, and it's just never felt like it's that idea of like usually they're so narrative driven that you kind of it's hard to just sort of watch something else at the same time, whereas like with any other thing you can kind of just sit there and burn through it, whereas like most RPGs I want the have to be focused on, and that's what the Switch I think provides, is it's sort of like I'm only going to be focusing on that if it's a handheld in front of me. As opposed to like I wish the Final Fantasy VII port was better, because I would like to play that game finally, but I've heard the Switch one has some pretty glaring issues that haven't been fixed.
I think this is the one where they show. Yeah, here it is.
Yeah, there it is.
The very end, they just show the Steam one. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a nice surprise there.
That's great. Because another game I would like to check out, because I liked the cast of Persona 5, but I actually found the voice actor for the girl that wears red, Anna, I think.
Yeah.
She's on TikTok. For some reason, I was recommended her thing. She was like, here's all the voices I do, and then that was one of them, but then there was like 50 some odd other ones, but I was like, oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
It was just,
out there making a living somehow in these unprecedented times.
I love voice actors though. They're super important.
Yeah.
So I guess moving on.
Oh yeah, I put the Apple stuff in here because it was announced today.
We can talk about it real quick if
I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you go buck wild with it. Go ahead, because
Yeah. So Apple introduces the AirPods Max, which I think already is not a great naming convention, because their AirPods are, by design they're the small things that go in your ear. So naming it the same thing is I don't know. I think that's already kind of negative. So they're like really sleek noise canceling over the head or over ear headphones. I really like the look of them. They do look very Apple in their design and very simplified. There's like no branding on them whatsoever. It's just like I was saying to you, is they basically look like two Apple Watches with a band in the middle. If you want to scroll down a little bit so we can actually see.
There they are.
I'd say but basically two Apple Watches sort of with pads on the side. But they're very sleek. I like the way that they look, very simple. The big caveat with them though is one, I don't know how they sound. To me, AirPods personally don't sound all that great, especially when you compare it to other premium headphones, I guess we'll say. Especially for in-ear headphones at that $250 price point for like their Pro version or whatever, there's definitely much better options out there. Or for over-ear headphones, especially like the Sony's WXM or WMX3 1000s sound a lot better. The PXC 550s by Sennheiser, they sound a lot better. But I mean, that's by design. I mean, they're over-ear headphones. They generally sound a lot better and have better depth and stuff to them. I would like to try these. I obviously want to know what they sound like. I want to see them. I think two big caveats other than, one being the price. They're priced at $550 basically, which is pretty substantial for a pair of headphones. And that's not to say that they won't be of quality build-wise, because generally most Apple products, if you move past the glass portion, everything else is built pretty well. And I also wonder about the weight too, because I'm not sure what these are made of. I mean, it looks like some kind of aluminum.
Probably says like right here somewhere.
I'm sure it does.
Yeah.
I'm sure it does somewhere. But yeah, the price is a huge put off, because you can get a lot of really nice headphones and audio equipment for that price point. So I feel like these need to really sound exceptional. And they own, I don't know if they're working with Beats on this, because they own Beats. And they're obviously a giant maker of over-ear headphones. But those don't generally... they've gotten better for sure because they've got a lot of heat for a while, but they still don't sound that good to me personally, and to a lot of people in the audiophile community. Definitely, they're sort of the joke headphones there. But this carrying case too is really strange because that doesn't seem protective or a good way to transport headphones in any capacity.
Yeah,
it's also weird that they don't bend in any way. Actually, the other thing about it is I don't know if they have a headphone jack either. And that's a kind of a big caveat.
I think
because that means you can't plug them into external stuff to just use as headphones for like my audio interface or something like that. Scroll down to is there a portion where it shows wait, back all the way down. It's a little bit farther. To a little bit farther down. There was under this. Yeah, no, up more.
What are you talking? I'm looking for a picture.
Yeah, additional. Well, I was just looking at additional features to see if it said
Oh, okay. I was looking for a port in the pictures, but I don't see any.
No, the way that they're all shown, it doesn't show any. I have their actual. I think their website page up here.
Yeah.
Let's see if it shows. No, because the only thing it says is AirPods smart case and then Lightning to USB-C cable, which is I would imagine just for charging. But they don't show the bottom of any of these. Mm-hmm. So that would be my guess is it doesn't have a jack.
Well,
which again, the lack of feature set for a pair of headphones that are in the almost $600 range or closing in on it with tax. That's because even the Sennheisers, the Sonys, Audio-Technicas, pretty much any other high-end audiophile headphone will have some manual port or physical port, I guess, rather, for that. Now, you may be able to do a Lightning to, I guess, Lightning to Lightning or USB-C to Lightning. Because I assume that's to charge it, but I guess it could also be. Well, actually, it depends on how this connector works. Because if I imagine that, I don't know actually, because their power bricks are all USB-C to Lightning or USB-C to C, and I imagine you would charge these USB-C, so maybe they're charged with a Lightning port, then to USB-C charging brick. So then you couldn't use that same cable to put Lightning to USB-C because none of their phones have it. You could maybe do it on a computer though. See this is where I hate Apple's design with shit. Is it just
they're
it's always
they're forcing you into something all the time.
As always, it's just so annoying because it's this seems like a really solid product, but then you go, well, what are the caveats? And here we go. It's you can easily connect to every device, but not to their other, not to other devices, only their devices. And that's just fucking frustrating. Yeah, because it really doesn't show anything anywhere. I really want to know this.
I thought you were talking about doing USB-C to... I thought you were talking about doing USB-C to auxiliary for that kind of stuff, which at that point you're losing the analog of it, which is what people want. You're converting to a digital signal. So
no. Again, I mean that's another thing. Okay, so hold on. I've got the.
You're going down a rabbit hole here live. We're watching it.
Yeah, no. Well, I'm trying to get the information, just to put it out because I didn't look too much beforehand. I kind of glanced over it, and that was something I kind of overlooked. Also, 20 hours is not huge, really, either, because actually both. I think the Sennheiser one is 35. The Sony ones are 40 hours on a charge, which is incredible. I've charged them maybe 4 times in the year or so I've had them.
Yeah.
20 times single charge with active noise canceling. So it may be longer without it, but it doesn't say that. Yeah, and it just says compatibility with all these different things that have Bluetooth. It doesn't say anything. That's upsetting because that's a really expensive.
Yeah.
For a device that only does that.
That's the Apple way, man. Here's this.
Yeah, I know. It's just such an annoying design philosophy. I just
here's
don't.
This,
I hate companies
here's this
that do
monitor
this shit.
stand for $1,000. Have at it.
Well, it's just it's the frustrating thing of like either they're just trying to sell a premium product that looks expensive, so you'll buy it because it looks expensive, which is sort of the Beats method of like, hey, celebrities use this, you should use this. But it is that, and it's the same thing that Oculus or Facebook now is doing too, is the same idea of like, why do you not want everyone's money? Like, why do you only want certain people's money for these things? Like, it just doesn't make any sense that you don't expand the platform higher. Because I can't imagine anyone that's like in the high end audio spectrum is gonna go, well, if I want to use these headphones, I have to then, well, one, you're already not into Bluetooth that much because you're into more analog stuff as far as most audiophiles go, so you don't really want the Bluetooth side of it anyway. But then to say like, because also Apple doesn't even support FLAC files, so that was another one you don't want. So then you're probably not in the Apple ecosystem already. So that would in turn say that you need to get a Apple, like a MacBook or an iPhone or some Apple product to then use these headphones in general. So it's I don't know. It's just a fucking headphone jack, dog. It's not that big of a deal. I get it on maybe on your phones and some other shit, but on headphones, like, what happens when they die? Then what do you do? Nothing? You get nothing?
Mm-hmm. That's the Apple.
That's cool.
That's the Apple way, man.
That's really
here's
cool.
This,
here's this almost $600. That's cool. That's very cool.
Here's this iPod. Here's an iPod we put a spinning disc in, and one little tumble, and that thing's gonna click the entire time you have it, and not play certain things. And yeah, man,
yeah, I miss the iPod. Honestly, for a long time I wanted to just have an iPod and then have a phone and have them separate. Because honestly, when I was growing up, I would just take my iPod and not my phone most places. I didn't really care to have a phone. I wanted just the music. I
would say, like, I was looking at the like last gen of the iPod videos, and like I don't know, man. Those are still very appealing. Well, I think they stopped producing the iPod video.
No, they put an iPod out. Oh well, the video iPods, yes, but now iPods are just iPod Touches effectively, which are just phones.
Yeah, iPod Classic. Because I'm definitely...
you're gonna look for if you go to Apple's website and look at an iPod.
Well, I'm looking for the actual model that I would want.
Oh, sure. Well, the thing is too, when you look at the pricing for iPods now is pretty insane, like because they're pretty expensive storage wise. For what you get, like you could just buy like an iPhone 6 or like any Android phone and just put storage in it and just use it as the same thing. Like it'll all connect to Wi-Fi. Yeah. They mostly all have headphone jacks. A lot of Android phones too will support FLAC and other higher quality music files anyway.
Well, this is definitely the one that I would buy. These were my favorite ones, and I think
I did have. Well, I had every one of them up until the Touch, I guess, the one that looked more like an iPhone. I think that one you just showed might have been the last iPod I had.
Yeah.
And it came with a U2 album, and that's probably what you really want. You don't even really care about the iPod. You want the U2 album.
Yeah. The rest of it's like
bonus.
It's bonus. The U2 thing is priceless. You can't.
I actually have. Hold on. Let me see if.
Oh God, here we go. He's getting his Bono album collection. I'm calling it right here. Oh wait, hold on. No, he's pulling out an iPod. Okay.
What?
There it is. Oh no, I was just narrating as you were. I was trying to fill the air.
Yeah. So this is a very tiny 4 GB iPod. My friend before he passed away, this was the last gift that he gave me. Right. Yeah. It's based on my brother and me joke. Right. He goes. He was like, one of the brothers kept going. He's like, the only thing you need. He's like, they were talking. Okay, so there's a little bit longer into it, but they were talking about a presentation for like Apple's their press conferences or whatever. It's like they were joking like, what if you went out on the stage with like an iPod and then he like tripped and dropped the thing and was like, oh shit, and he was like, yeah, but what if when he dropped it he kicked it up and caught it back in his hand, and you're like, oh, I trust this guy to run a company because he like check out those reflexes. And then what if, and they went to the next bit. It was like, what if he just went out there and he was like, hey guys, the last iPhone you bought, it's fine, you don't need this, like you can get it if you want, but your other one, it's still fine. And he's like, and then he was like, what if he's like, the only thing you need on your iPod is chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored water. He's like, all you need is an iPod that has enough memory for chocolate starfish and maybe a few other songs, but that's it. That album fucking melts. That's all you need. So what he did was he bought me an iPod, and the only thing on this is chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored water and like 3 other songs, and that's it. That's the only thing that's on this. And it was like one of the best gifts I've ever gotten. But that joke killed me because it was just like, it's like, you don't need anything else, it fucking shreds. He's like, and then they were saying like, Steve Jobs was just like, I quit. He's like, I'm a dancer, I'm one of the Limp Bizkit's dancers, and I quit. I'm going on tour with them, and that's it, I'm done, I don't want to do this anymore. He's like, I'm a dancer, and I'm fucking free, I'm gone, I don't need this anymore.
Could you imagine the alternate reality where it wasn't a U2 album that they put out, but it was Chocolate Starfish? Like,
we would have had a brighter future as a society, yeah, if Chocolate Starfish. Yeah. You know that album says fuck 75 times?
I'm sure, yeah. That's
all I ever remember about it in high school. People going like, dude, he says fuck like 85 times in this one song. I counted. I'm like, wow, that seems unnecessary. Like, that seems excessive. I was like, are there other words, or is it just him saying that over and over again?
Yeah. Limp Bizkit. What a good band. Speaking of good bands.
Oh, yeah, dude. Really good band.
Really
good band. Oh, yeah, dude.
Do you remember last week when we talked about Nintendo shutting down that tournament?
I've heard of that. Is there a game company, right?
Yeah, Nintendo, they're like they made this game about this guy. You know the one I'm talking about, right? Like
the super
he like jumps.
Super Marino man? Yeah. I've heard of it. Yeah. He like fights jumps. A overage or like a adult turtle.
Yeah. Okay. Big turtle man. Yeah.
And he's trying to save like an Amazon woman to scale of his body. Yeah, I've seen it. And his friend's also like a small, I guess you'd call him his brother, but he probably doesn't refer to him that way. Yeah, I've heard of Nintendo before. They make video games, I guess.
They also make they make their fans upset. That's like something they've been doing
all
a lot
the time
lately. Yeah.
Consistently.
So they shut down that Melee tournament. The long and short of this is that there was a Splatoon tournament where the payout was $25 in eShop credit, and the like top 10 teams, like 3 or 4 of them had like free Melee or like Save Melee as their team name. Nintendo like shut down the tournament for its last like live stream. Like they canceled it.
Cool, very cool. Very
and yeah, man, North American Open, which had 291 teams competing for a chance to win a trophy valued at $200, also like $25 in credit. That was the other part.
Well, it would be would it be 200 split between all members? Well, that would only be $100, wouldn't it? How big are the teams?
Well, it's an actual trophy, but like the other reward that you got for winning is like $25 eShop credit or something.
Okay.
So 4 of the top teams, FT Win, Enlightenment, Bowcut Nation, Southern Lights, all signed up with slightly different monikers. They signed up as
Wave Dash,
FT,
Slippy,
Wave
Melee
Dash,
Nation,
Slippy, Melee
yeah.
Nation. Yeah.
Very cool.
And
I'm into this.
yeah, so what does Nintendo do? Okay, yeah, so this was the tweet that came out that kind of got everybody's attention. Splatoon community in support of the Smash community has 30% of the top teams in this weekend's Splat 2 National or North American Open and team names in support of Melee and Smash. What does Nintendo of America and Nintendo Versus do? Canceled their live stream for the event. From what I understand, they did set up a community tournament that paid out like a decent amount of money, like I think like 5,000 or more.
So a better tournament than Nintendo's again.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. That's typical.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, dude. What? Like, I mean, I get like the idea of saying you won this or being, getting a trophy officially from Nintendo. That's a very cool thing to have. But yeah, what is a $25 eShop credit? Like as a prize for anything? That's like that's pretty weak.
Yeah, you can get Final Fantasy like half of the cost of the Zodiac Age or something like that. You can pay for almost half of Mario Odyssey on the eShop.
Yeah, I was about to say you can pay for almost half of a game.
That
they won't lower the price on, even though it's been out for however long.
So yeah, this company did the live stream with the 4 top teams.
Oh, the Squid House. Have they been canceled yet?
No, not yet. They said prize pool starts at 1,000, donations welcome, and they ended up bringing in $25,000. So, yeah.
It's weird. Better. It's almost like these communities are really strong and they really like the thing that they're doing. It's really weird. It's almost like these communities are able to support themselves and would love the support of the people that made the game, but that the game maker hates them. It's really weird. It's so weird.
And that's like what I'm garnering from it really is just that Nintendo is so backwards in like how video games today are perceived. Like, I think that they're still trying to have this guise of like being a family entertainment company first, but honestly, it's
families compete for shit. Like families join competitions. There's that trope of the company picnic. All the families are competing or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, there's like, for example, Smash Brothers is like the demographic there is, I think, like very wide. So you have children who are really into it, people our age who are really into it, teenagers, people who are older than us. But I think the people who were like slightly before us as far as Smash Brothers go, they play Melee, which is like its own, it's been its own thing forever now. So like they're not harming anybody by being this niche community. Like they're not ripping sales out of Ultimate. They're not pushing people toward Melee.
I can't imagine anybody that played Melee isn't going to just buy every version of Smash that comes out anyway.
Yeah.
Because you already like the franchise as it is. And then 2, maybe it is the next one. Like what is nothing's preventing it from becoming the next Melee. Like it's just it's so fucking dumb. It's so dumb.
What I'm ultimately saying is that like games in nature have become more public zeitgeist. Like Twitch is not the biggest website, like streaming platform aside from YouTube in the world for no reason. Like competitive gaming has taken on like a brand new form in the last like I would say 5 years. It's really ramped up. Nintendo's just so far behind when it comes to that stuff.
The irritating thing about it too is like, with Ultimate is like, that is the newest Smash, right? Ultimate, am I mistaken?
Yeah. It's Ultimate.
I don't know why I forget the name of it. I guess because every version of Smash is just Smash, but with Ultimate is like all those groups are taken care of in that game's design. It's like if you want to be the tournament person, here's the rule set you can set for yourself. Here's a 1 button press for tournament stages for every stage. Like here's And then it's like, if you don't, here's a thing to turn on all these fucking wild items and all this other goofy shit and all these other handicaps for you and your kids or whatever. So it's like every demographic of player of that game is easily represented in this version of the game. And again, like, here's every character and then some that has ever been in this game. So it's like, here's all the potential options available. Why not support all the communities that come out of that? Like, why would you not... like, especially a company like, again, like, you look at why do they not want a bigger community around that game when there already is a large community to begin with? But why not make it like StarCraft has a huge following and that's all ran by pretty much Blizzard. Dota International is all a huge thing and that's all run by Valve. Like, why not do... You don't really have another game that's going to have this caliber of people behind it that you make. Why would you not support the one that you do have and like make that a wide... You can still make your event totally family friendly or whatever, and like encompass everybody that's going to be there. Or, you know, at the same time, make strict limitations. Like, hey, if your player is you know, using profanity or whatever, then they're disqualified. There you go. Like, that's the rule you set in place. They follow it or they don't. But you harbor the ability for that kind of environment rather than like cut it all off completely and say no one can do it. It just doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. And especially with Melee, it's like anybody that's in that community more so, or going to those tournaments, they're fully aware Nintendo's not putting this on. So how does that like negatively affect Nintendo until they decide they don't want anybody to do it? Like, before that, they knew, like, hey, Nintendo's not putting this on. It's not Nintendo's event. They just made this game. So it's not like if something bad happens at a Melee event, it doesn't reflect poorly on Nintendo. They know Nintendo didn't do it. So again, like, why do they hate it? Why do they hate it so much? It's so strange.
Like I said, dude, like, I think their philosophy, like, that they're the family console, is like very skewed in how games are today. And I know that they want to fit that, and I know that they don't want to like have this air of competitiveness around their games. Like, Sakurai has gone on record to say like he doesn't believe in Smash as a professional sport, or professional like esport, or professional like, you know, like hardcore fighting game or anything. But then he's over in Japan like hosting one of the opens, and like they're doing like no items, like the rule sets that are popular in like professional.
Why would he spend
play.
So much time balancing the game if it doesn't matter?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think there's this weird struggle there. Like, I think his attitude may have like changed pretty significantly going into Ultimate. Because that was also there in Smash 4. Like, Smash 4, for lack of a better word, is like, it's not as good as Ultimate on a gameplay perspective, but it was also not as great to watch because the balance was so bad. So sure. I think that like he saw the value in like moving some of the tweaks and balances toward professional players, because people who are just sitting there getting items, mashing buttons, like, they don't care about the frame data. They don't care about like how specific characters counter one another. They're just playing a party game. And I have the capability of playing it that way, but I also like playing it the other way. So I feel like there's this weird power imbalance where like Nintendo as a corporation doesn't want to like travel down that path, but like the developers of Smash are making it more acceptable and more like more ready for that type of play, like that level of play. So
well, that's what I mean. It's
very odd.
They're both baked in already. And if you if you even boil it down to sales more so, you would, as far as DLC stuff goes, the competitive players are going to buy that DLC the second it's available. Mm-hmm. Like, because that's what they care about. And it's like the people doing it as a party game aren't. So it's like they may get it, but it's never like I still haven't even picked it up, and I love Smash, but it's still not like there's no incentive for me to get it yet, really, I guess, or mess around with it. Like, I'd be curious to see the characters. Like, I like the arms person, Steve, whatever. But like, again, if I was a competitive player, there's no even question. Like, it's like, yep, here it is. I need that. And so
as soon
it's
as
like,
they go on sale, I bought them. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. And I under circumstances, if there wasn't a bunch of other stuff coming out, I probably would have done the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Or it's really once they give me a character that I'm really like, oh, I gotta try that one, then I'll just get the whole set or whatever. But it's inevitable on my end, I guess, that it will be picked up at some point, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, again, the community that, again, is supporting the thing as immediately as they can possibly support it. It's just weird. It's just weird that they don't. I don't know why they don't think both can coexist, because they totally can both coexist. And if you're just a casual player anyway, you're not going online on this game to get your ass handed to you every 5 minutes. Like,
yeah,
you're gonna either play with your friends or you're just gonna not play it, and or play with computers or something. Like, the competitive side of the game can be, I feel like, completely separate from the however else you want to play this game.
And
like, it doesn't make any sense.
If you're to believe, like, a lot of the stuff that's come out recently, that's, like, been the case for a very long time, that, like, the Melee community and, like, competitive Nintendo gaming in general has existed outside of the company because the company doesn't want to embrace it. But the thing is, like, you have defenders out there saying that, like, oh, they wouldn't have touched Big House had it not been for, like, the use of emulation and Slippy, because Nintendo hates, like, emulation. And while that's true, like, they've never had the backs of even legal gameplay, right? So what Nintendo considers legal, like Evo, like they use legitimate discs, they use legitimate consoles, they play it like at its purest, right? On stage at Evo, they still wanted to take Melee away from it. Like, that's been their goal for a very long time, is to get Melee ripped out of Evo, but they eventually brought it back in. But the last year, they didn't have Melee on the main stage. It was just Ultimate, and that was a Nintendo decision.
Right.
So there's a lot of theories as to why they're so reluctant to support Melee in general, and I get that, like, and even a lot of, like, Smash players, like, Melee's very niche in the broad audience, I think. And there's a lot of Ultimate people that are, like, just like, fucking boomers, get off of Melee and come, like, evolve with the series, right? But I don't think that there's any harm in letting those people play Melee in their own pocket, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it doesn't affect anything. Again, because they already probably bought Ultimate anyway. Like, you can't even give them the argument that it affects sales, because they already bought it. There's no way
there's a lot of Melee people that did the transition of, like, I'm no longer doing Melee, I'm going to move over to Ultimate. And some of those people play both or flip-flop or, like, one or the other.
Yeah.
The other thing is that, like, the online is so lackluster that it's like, if we're going to focus our energies to, like really make a statement to Nintendo, let's, like, put rollback netcode in Melee, and they did that. And like, that also looks like egg on the face to Nintendo, because it's like, it shines a light on, like, their offerings lately have been very very lackluster, I think. Like, this year, especially for Nintendo, has been a very weird year. I still anticipate their games. I anticipate their games. Like, I always look forward to what's coming next. I loved Animal Crossing. I still haven't picked up Pikmin 3, like, for example. Normally, these are things that I'm, like, kind of chomping at the bit to get. But, like, this...
Well, because you're not really seeing anything, like, necessarily new. Because, like, as cool as Animal Crossing is, like, at the end of the day, it's still kind of Animal Crossing. Like, they've sort of tweaked it a little bit, but it's not really... I mean, and I guess it's hard to argue, because I guess that's Nintendo's philosophy all the time, is like, Mario Odyssey is still Mario. It's a really good version of Mario, but it's still Mario. Like,
but there, I would say there's two games that persist through that, though, and that's, like, Super Smash Brothers and Mario Kart. Like, you look at all the previous Nintendo consoles, and it's like, you still know people playing those things when the system is dead. Like, up until Ultimate was coming out, like, there were still people playing Smash 4 on their Wii
there's still people playing Melee. That's the whole thing we're just talking about.
Yeah. So, it's just insane to me. Like, it makes no sense in some ways, but
Well, that's if we're talking about if we're going back to competitive stuff. That's the thing that annoys me the most about Mario Kart is just the blue shell is the only thing in that game that like dequalifies it from being competitive. Is like the fact that there is a specific item targeted at the best person when generally the person playing in first is just racing the best. Like, and it's like, or navigating the track properly or, you know, utilizing boosts when they have whatever. But that one thing is designed specifically to counteract that. And it's like, why can't we just take it out? Like, have the option to take it out. Some people like it, and sometimes it is hilarious, and it doesn't, you know, there's times where it's welcome, but why is there not like just a slider that goes shell on off? That's it. Like, to let people, you know, to let people do it the way they want. Why? I guess that's the thing is like, why does Nintendo always feel like they need to be in charge of how you play something?
That's like, that's kind of what I'm getting at. Yeah, is that like this year we haven't seen like a lot of growth from Nintendo. I think there's something around the corner, but at the same time, like Smash is the game that people come back to. Like, even in a light year, like I just played Smash before we started the podcast. Like I've been playing it since release, and so like I think Smash is going to carry through the current like lifeline of Switch up until whatever comes next for the series. The same way Mario Kart 8 has.
Ultimate was the reason I even bought a Switch. Like I wanted to play Zelda and I wanted to play this, but it wasn't until Smash that I was like, okay, well now it's time to actually buy one. Like, because that's something I want to spend tons of time on.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know, just to wrap it up, it's like shitty. It's just shitty. Like just let really the people... I think you're doing a disservice to the people. Like, you can celebrate your legacy by celebrating Melee. You also have plenty of like marketable opportunity there. There's like a lot of good story to the actual Melee community. And they could have embraced that the entire time and like fed into it and like really like made something blossoming. Like you see all the time these smaller companies like really corralling around their communities. But you don't see that from Nintendo. You really don't see that from Nintendo. Like, you don't see posts from Nintendo like, hey, join our official Discord, or like, you don't see like community managers out there like, oh, hey, play with some of your favorite like community people, and like, you don't see stuff like that.
No.
And I know they're larger than life itself, but like even Xbox and like Sony to some extent have like backed games on their consoles like with tournaments and stuff like that, so it's just very, very odd.
Yeah, it's really strange, because I would also think, like, the big thing I come back to is it's always, like, some financial something, right? Like, I know they want to be, have this image or do this or whatever, but at the end of the day, it feels like it's going to be a financial decision, and it's like, I don't know why they don't just incorporate, like, even if you don't port Melee, just put the mechanical and rule set or whatever, like, I don't know, it's like a $20 DLC to Ultimate, and it's just the Melee mode or whatever, where it's like everything is mechanically the same as it was in that game. The stages are there, you can only use X characters, whatever, and there you go. And then you could have, like, I don't know, turn the graphics to that or to how they look now, whatever. Have some fanfare in there. And then, you know, I don't know. I guess that doesn't really solve the tournament side of it. I'm just trying to think of, like, again, they're just not harming anybody. is the big thing, is like they're not hurting Nintendo, or, you know, if anything, I think you could even boil it down to like you were saying, is like, if anything, it's a testament to Nintendo as a company that they've made games continually that are played for so many years that people are still playing this version of a game and their other one coinciding. Like, they're like, yeah, this one is really great. This old one's also still really good. We still play them both competitively. I don't know. It just doesn't make any goddamn sense. It's so ridiculous. We got to move on, though. We've been... Yeah. We were talking about it for so long.
I was going to bring in the story about cyberpunk, and like, so the big thing about reviews right now is that, like, if you're out there reading them, like, bugs are very prevalent in it. I think I want to save that.
I would honestly say we should probably wait because it's
that's
tomorrow,
what I was gonna say.
and then I guess by I don't know. I guess Thursday. Well, by Friday we'll have the cyberpunk specific episode out.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep this story in the pocket though, because what's interesting about the PC Gamer article is that it lists like a bunch of bugs that they noticed their time reviewing it and playing it.
Right.
And I'd like to kind of compare and contrast and like see if like this day one patch coming out is fixing a lot of these issues, or like if that stuff's still prevalent.
leave it in the notes, and we'll look at it, because we'll be reconvening in a day or so. If you're watching this, we're recording it very early this week on a Tuesday, to get prepped for Cyberpunk, which is tomorrow.
And then I think Friday,
Thursday night.
Yeah, Thursday night or Friday after. I think Friday afternoon maybe, because I don't have anything going on. But we'll be recording something. You'll see something soon.
I guess so, because this episode would be what comes out on Friday. So yeah, we could always put that one out Saturday or something. Yeah, it's not a bit. Yeah, whichever. Yeah. Soon we'll have a long form discussion of Cyberpunk. So far,
we just want to put some time into it, but I'm trying to take reviews with a grain of salt. But at the same time, like last week, we talked about like having tempered expectations. And so knowing CD Projekt Red and like where Witcher 3 was at launch, it wasn't the prettiest situation. Like that game is still beloved. You look at like overall scores of Cyberpunk right now, and like the game is still there, but the bugginess is like kind of terrible. But I think The Witcher 3 was in a similar spot when it came out. So
yeah, it had some roughness in it when it first shot, because I played it on launch week, or launch day, I guess probably. I remember some pretty wild graphical hiccups. I remember actually the biggest one was that I would experience was pulling out the crossbow. For some reason, when you pulled out the crossbow, the frame rate would just take a shit, and I have no idea why. Like, it eventually got ironed out, but I'm telling you, it would drop by no less than like 35 frames every time you'd pull the crossbow out. It would just get this weird, like, it was like something with the actually. And it could be the same. It's almost the exact same issue I had with Battlefront 2, playing it recently. Is like if you set the FOV slider anywhere past default in the story, it like does this weird like shake and then locks it back to where you set it. So it's almost like it was trying to figure out. It's like, oh, this isn't the normal FOV that the game set at. Hold on, and then it would just like shake and stutter, and then it's like, but perfect. It would just like it would do this weird, really strange thing, but it kind of reminded me of that, because that was sort of the same thing as like, because the FOV would change, you'd zoom in and do this, but then everything would get really chuggy for a moment. But other than that, though, the Battlefield thing was like that's the only, or Battlefront one, that's like the only issue I had with that story game play, other than like some length of some stuff. But we'll get into that here shortly. I guess you want to take a quick one, and then we'll
take a little breather.
Tee off, and then see what happens after the break part here.
Yeah. We'll come back, talk some games from the week, and you already know what it is.
Well, hey everybody, welcome back.
What's up?
We're here again. We didn't leave you. We left you, but we'll come back to you. Like a.
We'll never leave you, baby.
We would never leave you guys for too long.
We would never do. I'll never go to the store for cigarettes again. No, that
realistically, even though this isn't the experience that you guys will have, we came back to you sooner this week than we've ever came back to you. So we left you for even a less amount of time, and we'll be coming at you twice this week, which we don't normally do either. But it's a big day. It's a big day for video games.
I normally space out my time. Normally space it out longer than a week.
Yeah. Or several days, but here we are. We're going to talk about some video games we played this week.
What do you want to get into first? You got quite a bit here. I'll tell you this. If you don't know yet, I'll tell you the one I want to hear about first, if that's okay with you. I want to hear about the Monster Hunter crossover. That's what I
can do that really quick, because there's not a lot happening there.
Yeah.
So I played the Monster Hunter X Monster Hunter crossover, which is the crossover for Monster Hunter with the Monster Hunter film, which actually I have a little bit of info on that as well. Is that movie was pulled out of Chinese theaters already. Apparently, there was a bit in there that was derogatory towards Chinese folks. It was like a joke that said, I think it said, "What type of knees are those? Chinese?" And that was what there was an outrage in China about that joke, and the movie was pulled from theaters, I think, a few days after its release. So not a great look for that movie so far. I'm still curious to see if we're gonna see this on streaming platforms to be streamed, because I'm obviously not going to a theater. Yeah, so it all boils down. It's just 2 quests basically. This first one here is you're killing a Black Diablos, and then the second one is you're fighting a super enlarged Raytheon, or Rathalos, and then you don't kill it though. It just goes away because a storm's coming, which sucks you into it. The plot is sort of implying that you've met the hunter, the member of the Fifth Fleet before, but he has no recollection of you, and you can't you can't understand. You have a very loose understanding of his language, so you guys can't really speak to each other either. So it's sort of this weird a narrative thing of like you don't speak the same language, but you're hunting together, and he assumes you're a member of the Fifth Fleet, even though you're not. And so, yeah, I mean the Black Diablos fight is a very rudimentary, like just fight with a Black Diablos. You can use she has daggers, and in the film I believe does as well. But you can go to the equipment box there and change out to whatever. I used the hammer for the first one, and then found Insect Glaive a lot easier for the Rathalos fight just because he was so gigantic. Mm-hmm. The cool things, I guess, would be the unlocks for it. One is layered armor, which is her armor, but it's not her as a character. Like when you did the Witcher one, you could get layered armor that was just turned you into Geralt, or there's one that turned you into Bayek from Assassin's Creed. There's a Ryu one, a Horizon Zero Dawn one, stuff like that. This one's just like a hairstyle, and then the outfit, which is, just adds more layered options. But I don't find the outfit particularly interesting. It's sort of, just a black leather thing.
It's from the movie.
Yeah, it's pretty dull. It does. The event did come with a +4 gem for earplugs, which is like a pretty hard one to come by, which effectively gives you, I believe, 2 or more stacks of earplug plus, which is like a huge one for late game stuff because that pretty much nullifies all roars, which is big. So that was cool. And then the actual armor set, the non-layered version that you make out of it, is honestly really good. Chances are, though, by this point, if you're still playing this game, you probably already have better armor in general than what you're going to make with this, which is generally the issue with all of the event stuff. Is like the layered armor is more interesting because you can use it for whatever. The actual practical armor is like kind of whatever. Again, this one is good. It's a good set of armor, but it's just not necessarily what it doesn't really matter in the grand scope of the armors that are available. I think the only benefit of it is it's like 4-piece set bonuses to give you a higher rarity of extra drops for every fight, which is kind of big if you're still looking for certain stuff. And it does have like health boost, recovery boost, a little bit of critical, and some other stuff like that. So it's a good set, but
sounds like an all around. It sounds like an all arounder kind of set. Like
yeah, it is. And then it has like poison and blight resistance, which it is available if you're at master rank 1, I think, which is the earliest. So if you were just getting Iceborne and then did this quest, you'd have a pretty good set if you could even make it already. Which I think it just requires like a bone or something, and then it gives you like 5 tickets for finishing this, so you have enough to make the whole set. And then I could make everything with just doing both of these once. Yeah, so it's all right. I mean, it's cool that they did this. I find Mila Jovovich's character in the story to be pretty fucking annoying though, because she quips every 2 seconds the whole time. Mm-hmm. You do anything is always just another quip, which if you've listened to me before, not really a fan of quipping in any capacity. So it gets really annoying here. But yeah, I mean, it was fine. It was cool that it's there. I think it's probably better than the movie's going to be. But
well, that's what I was wondering. Like, did they try to? And like, we tried to guess the plot of this movie a few weeks back, but did they try to tie?
Oh, we got the plot 100%. Well, yeah. So the storm that the second quest ends because a storm's coming to the island, which looks very much like the storm in the trailers that transports them to this area. So my guess is that she's flying off into that to get transported back to her world. So I don't know if the commander in this is going to be represented in the film or if this is just like a different. I don't know if there's some narrative thread there. Like, it was very narrative driven, but it wasn't like a whole. Because again, it was a lot of like almost the entire plot point is like, hey, we can't understand each other, so we're just sort of trying to talk to understand what either person is saying, which effectively just translates to like, hey, we need to split up to find this thing to fight it. So I don't know.
If the Rathalos fight in the movie doesn't end with them like doing 30 seconds of carving, then it has been all for nothing. That's
there's not even at least a joke about it, then I'm good on this movie. Or if they, like I said, if they don't do the prance dance, then they don't play this game. If they didn't, if nobody cooks a rare steak to music, then or well done steak to music, then they didn't play this game.
If you don't
also haven't seen any palicos in that trailer either, and if there's not palicos in this game or this movie, then not a great representation because palicos are a pretty big part.
I have bad news.
You know that there's not?
I know that there is. But they wrote the Palico to be like horny for Mila Jovovich's character, apparently. So you're gonna enjoy that because I know you're a fan of two big things: quips and horniness. Those are the two things that you're.
Yeah, those are my two favorite things in films: is people quipping and people being horny when they do it. God.
Yeah. So
fuck. Cool. I can't wait for this movie to just upset me. It's really cool that we got a good franchise and then we've mishandled it. And like I said, is now apparently racially charged as well towards the Chinese folk, which is great to hear. This director is continuing to be a very, very cool dude, which I guess is maybe on the script writer, but, you know, he directed it and let it stay in there. So anyway, yeah, that was fine. I'll talk, I guess, briefly about One Step from Eden because I played a little bit of that. It was one of the Humble Bundle games, which was pretty neat. It is a roguelike in the vein. It's a roguelike card game in the vein of Mega Man Battle Network, but it is not turn-based. It is all real-time action. So it's a little it's almost too hectic at times. Like, I'm getting a handle on the way that this game works, but it is like very, very fast-paced, and it's a lot of moving back. I don't quite understand. There's like a flow mechanic, which I don't totally understand, and then there's also like a mana system and then a cooldown, or not a cooldown, but I think it's based on your overall mana, which is that blue bar. Which will give you that. There is some neat mechanics with like shielding and other stuff. Like, it'll throw a potion in the air and then you have to randomly move to the square to actually catch the potion to then have it work, which is kind of neat. You can also upgrade cards, recycle them, buy new ones, stuff like that. You can shuffle the deck at any time, which will sort of give you a new swatch of cards, but there is like a cooldown timer on when that happens. So you like shuffle and then it takes a minute to actually come back. But as you can see, it's really fast paced, and it's like I like what's going on. I need to play more of it because I think there's like 11 or 12 character classes or something in there too, which have different starter abilities and some other stuff. You can also choose to not kill the bosses, which has an overall effect on the end result. And they'll also, as you just saw there, will show up in your subsequent fights randomly to help you, which is kind of a neat mechanic there too. There's different spell class types. There's also a mechanic of like the floor breaking, so you can't walk on certain areas, so that'll sort of mitigate where you're able to move. And then there's like overall unlocks and some other stuff there. But yeah, I need to spend more time with it. I think I've only spent like maybe 3 or 4 hours with it.
I never played. I never played the Battle Network games.
Oh, they were really good.
This does look a lot, because I know what they look like. I just never played them, but this looks a lot more involved than those games.
Yeah, well, those were turn-based too. So that was like each movement and attack was all in like a turn, whereas this is like all real-time, so you're quickly moving.
Did they keep up with that? Because I know there's like 20 of those games. Like, has it been the same system?
I haven't played all of them. I definitely played like the first 2, but as far as I understand, they all kept the same like play format as far as I remember. But yeah, this one's neat. I'm interested to play some more of it. I wish Humble would give you the option for where you wanted it, because this is another one where I would easily just play this on the Switch. But it kind of takes me down a bit, because it's one where I don't really necessarily want to load it up on the PC to do all that,
I always like when indie games do the thing where it's like, hey, do you remember that really niche game that was pretty popular? Well, we're trying that, but we're putting our little spin on it, and when it's successful, it's like really good. And it looks like that's a good marriage of the two. So
Battle Network was relatively successful, because they did have like 4 or 5 of those games. I think they did like a Pokemon sort of thing, where it was like there's 2 different versions, like for each set, if I remember right.
Yeah,
it's hard to remember. They did a lot of these though.
I'll tell you this, like that. Weird that I thought of this, but that made me want like a Chain of Memories style game. Like that Kingdom Hearts game, Chain of Memories, is actually like a pretty fun, like battle
I like that
system
one.
And stuff.
The bit of it I played, I liked.
I think
there is 9 Battle Network games.
Yes, there's a shit ton of them. The last one came out on DS or 3DS.
Mega Man Battle Network 6, Cyber Beast Gregor, and Cyber Beast Falzer. It doesn't say actually what it came out on, but it reviewed it as 64. It seemed like they were kind of continually going downhill. It looks like
losing steam a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like an almost consistent 60% or below, with the exception of being 2 having an 82%. I did play the second one. That one was really good. I do remember liking that one a lot. But yeah, it's cool. I want to play more of it, but it is a pretty interesting roguelike, or at least a nice change up on roguelike stuff. Doorkickers, I'm just gonna very quickly talk about this one, because this is like a self-made. They made this, but it's like a spin-off of Doorkickers, which is like a top-down isometric pseudo turn-based deal. But this is it's like a side-scrolling action game, but you don't have like proper aiming. You can only shoot forward, and then the idea is like that bar on the left is like filling up as you do certain actions or save hostages, and then that'll give you like one of them is like your ultimate ability. One is like the chance to revive when you die. One is like a health pack. Another one is like a body armor, some other stuff like that. The idea being like you're going for like a 3-star rating of taking out everybody and rescuing all the hostages, but you can also kill the hostages and stuff, which he's about to do there. And then the other mechanic would be like there's like certain enemy types that kind of come in variety. There's like a shotgun guy. There's like one guy that'll grab a hostage and pull a gun up, so you have to be careful about shooting him or finding an interesting way into the room to actually shoot him or whatever to make sure you save the hostage. There's also... It's like a co-op game. There's, I think, 8 classes. I could be wrong about that, but I think there's about 8, and then they all have like a skill tree sort of like this that you all individually level up, which makes you a little bit better going into it. And then you have like a star system that helps you unlock different weapons and accessories and things like that. It was on sale for like $2, so that's why I grabbed it, just because it seemed interesting enough for that price. And yeah, there's like it's totally comparable, like, or competent, like. It's not gonna, it's not world changing, but I did continually find myself going back to try to get the 3-star or like Like here it is kind of neat. You can jump through those like glass things and land on his head, which would have stunned him. So you can easily, effectively, you're really just trying to mitigate all the possible damage you can while still going through and doing everything appropriately. There's also like, I think 3 or 4 different modes. There's like one zombie mode where it's like all the same level layout and character layouts, but there's like portals that will open up. There's also some stages where like a grandmother will hit you with a cane because you broke into the house, so you have to like put her in handcuffs so she stops attacking you, but you don't want to kill her, and some other stuff. So there's like some other kind of gimmicky, cuter little sub goof things that are in there. But yeah, for like $2, I mean, it's totally fine. Like I enjoyed my little bit of time with it so far. I finished, I 3-starred all the first 12 stages, so I'm moving on to the next ones now. But what I played from it so far, pretty neat.
Oh yeah, it is on the Switch. So is that where you played it?
Yeah, it's probably no. It was on Steam for like $2. Okay. I also had like some credit because one of my refunds for some reason it's actually the same thing I was bitching at GameStop about, right? Where I like returned a thing or traded in a thing, but I had like $60 in store credit, and I bought Wingman and Cyberpunk at the same time, and ended up sending Wingman back because I didn't really care for it. But it took it out of my credit rather than out of the other 27 that I spent in the store. So it put 27 back on my whatever. I could have returned both and just did it, but whatever. I figured I would eventually spend $27 on Steam. It's not like that's gonna do much. Yeah. But that's what prompted me to get Battlefront and then spend some money on this game, which has been probably, I've had 2 really surprising things this week, which this game here that I'm about to talk about, Night of the Full Moon, and then Battlefront 2 both surprised me pretty heavily. This game though is man, it's super good, and it is free technically. It was a mobile game on Android, and then there is an iPhone version that you can pay for $1, and then the Steam one is free, which is the same version as the $1 one on the phone. But there is about $10 worth of DLC in it, which includes, I think, 5 new character classes and then another full story campaign, which all of those have like 10 levels of difficulty tied to them or whatever. So there's like a lot going on if you want. My only criticism is I wish both versions connected with each other, so like I could just buy the Steam one and then use it on my phone or whatever, because both are really good. But yeah, so it's a deck building roguelike story adventure game. You're only ever fighting one enemy at a time, but and you have, like I said, there's like I think 8 classes or so in total at the moment. They put a new one out in October of this year, which I think the game itself came out in October of 2019, so they're still adding stuff to it. But one, for a mobile game, it's super fun because I really don't play mobile games. I don't like them. And generally when I do, the only ones I will play are like card-based ones or some kind of quick match 3 something, just because it's like not super insane. This guy is encountering a bug, though, that people have mentioned that I haven't experienced, of just like enemies not showing up or something on screen. But yeah, so the core difference between this and most other card games is like the attack cards that you're looking at there, or you can pick whichever one, and then I'll go back into it.
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to find one where it wasn't bugged out. There we go.
Yeah, it is but first starting off, the art's all really good. There's voice acting for all the enemies. A lot of times what'll happen is you'll kill an enemy or you'll beat an enemy, and then you'll talk to it, like you'll have dialogue with it, and then depending upon your dialogue choice, you either gain reputation, or you'll gain courage, or you'll lose reputation or courage or whatever. And then to get the proper ending, you need a certain set of courage and reputation to then find clues to where your grandmother went, because you're Red Riding Hood, so you're trying to find your grandmother basically. And then so the interesting part of it is with the actual card mechanics themselves is like there is an energy system there, or an action system, I guess rather, And then there is a mana system, but not all classes will use the mana. And what happens is like you have a bunch of free actions that'll basically most of your attacks that won't be tied to either your mana or your action points. So effectively what can happen is like you can burn through like 40 action cards in one turn and then, still use like 3 or 4 of your actual point-based cards for like I guess it's kind of hard to explain because the action points and then actions per turn are like technically different, but they're labeled similar. They're labeled the same. So like, so yeah. But that's where it comes in. It gives you that sort of like power fantasy, I guess, in the card sense of like, oh, I'm doing like 50 some odd attacks this turn, and then really like synergizing the deck together to like really almost defeat a lot of these enemies in maybe 1 or 2 turns. But then the enemies also will all have like sort of interesting like little caveats to him. Like there's one guy that's like a handsome hunk or whatever, but he's so charming that the first every other turn you have to give him one of your cards that he can use against you because he's so charming or whatever. So that's like the character of him. Or there's like I'm trying to think if there's any other like really notable ones, but that's a big one. There's one that's like the talking like broom, teapot, and clock or whatever from Beauty and the Beast, but you beat them, and it's like, if you sympathize with them, they just attack you again because they're just assholes. But if you decide not to, they're like, well, that's really rude, whatever, and they just leave you. And then there's also like in between structures where it'll be like, hey, you found a weird apple. Do you want to eat it? And it's like it'll either be a poison apple or a regular apple, but that'll spawn an event later on or something. Kind of similar how to Ring of Pain was when I explained it, of like certain actions will then open up other actions unknowingly later. Yeah. And then you get to these like cauldron things, so then you can like pick up do you want more base mana, do you want more base health, do you want to just gain some more experience. Then you have the smithy that'll upgrade cards because all of them usually have like 2 to 3 upgrade paths that'll just make them more powerful. And then based on whatever class you have, primarily like all the cards in those classes are all pretty different. There are a few cards that go in between. And then at the end, there's like, I think like 5 different endings for the base game because there's like 5 different creatures you could potentially unlock the ability to fight based on how you've interacted with the other enemies or characters that you've found along the way. Like when this happens, like he's talking to him to sort of see what's going on there. But yeah, it was really surprising. Like for a free game that I didn't expect anything out of, I ended up buying the phone version and then spending $10 for the Steam version to get all the DLC stuff for it because I'm just like, this is really good. It's a really good game that, for whatever is going on there, they put a lot of work into it. And like I said, fully voiced characters, and then just a plethora of character classes that have all been like, I spent the first probably 6 hours on both versions playing just the Ranger class and then going, all right, now that I've beat the game with it one and haven't tried the harder difficulties yet, let me see what another one is. So I was like 6 hours for the, and the weird thing about it though is like you can't, you always beat the game. Like even if you die, it'll just reset you to that fight, and then if you back out, it'll reset you to your decision before that fight. Because usually at the crossroads, there's like 3 options that you can go to or whatever. And then in each act, there's like 30 pages, I guess, which is how they dictate, like, if you want to go to the smithy, if you're done with that, you'll exit out and then a new thing will come up. And so you're sort of picking between those 3 or whatever. So that's like a little weird, as you don't technically ever lose. You're always going to finish. Although I have found some fights that very much felt like I couldn't do it. And then after like my 3rd reset of it, I was able to, like, maybe by RNG or just like learning the fight a little bit better or something like that. So that's a little strange. There is also, as part of the DLC, there's like 35 like puzzles, like not puzzle fights, but like actual picture puzzles that you do in the game. So it's so it's sort of like another game inside of itself that you can do, and those increase in difficulty as you fill them out. And I found myself doing about 5 or 6 of those just because, I don't know, they were pretty decent and they're just there for some reason. So yeah, I don't know, it's a really weird package of stuff, but like it works really well, and it's like a really fun fun card game in its entirety. And again, as a mobile game, it's great. It was one of the few mobile games I ever played that my phone didn't get hot, which is always nice. So that means I'm not burning the battery to play it either. I've just kind of kept it running. And then when I go out to smoke or something, I'm like, all right, here I go. I'll do another couple rounds of this. And then whatever. My only peeve is just that I'd have to get the DLC for it twice, which is like $10 on both ends. But that being said, I think for $20 for 2 versions of this game completed, I think it's pretty fair. Like, to be honest, like for what is going on and the fact that you don't, and there's no, there's no ads or any of that shit either. It's just a straight up card game. So
here's the game.
Good on him.
I love mobile games like that.
Yeah, for $1 for the initial fee on there, whatever, and then for free on Steam, also whatever. Like, I can't stress enough. It's a great game that they put out there. I really enjoy it. Mm-hmm. I'm excited to play some more of it in my interim.
I'll check.
Kept me off of Facebook and other shit, which has been nice too. That was the other thing. Is like I found a game that's just like, oh, I'll quickly do this, so I'm not looking at social media bullshit all the time for no fucking reason. So.
All right. Well, walk me through your other big title.
Yeah, the other one I spent the most time with, or shall I say 9 hours with yesterday specifically, which was Battlefront 2, which I, again, you know this, but I'll say to the audience, like, I don't care about Star Wars. Like, every year I've gotten older, the less I've liked Star Wars as a whole. And I think outside of like sound and ship design and like the aesthetic of Star Wars, I don't care about it much at all. That being said, though, I love the ship designs. I love, the sound, the worlds, all this stuff. I always think are really great. With the exception being that like most aliens are all just humans with a different head, but that's besides the point, I guess. It came out a long time ago, so you can only do so much. I get it, but
yeah.
But yeah, I played through the full campaign, or at least up till there's a second campaign with like 3 missions. So I haven't done those 3 yet, which I'll actually probably do tonight. But I actually enjoyed the campaign quite a bit. I was also really reserved on this game just because I really love Star Wars Battlefront 2, as opposed to Battlefront 2, which is this one, that weird naming convention that they had. I played a lot of that on the PlayStation when I was growing up, and then I've played a lot of the PC version of that game, even recently, I think about like last year or before. Yeah,
they brought online back to that game.
So I dipped in because I was like, let me see what's going on there. And that game's still really good, so I commend these guys for... Well, I don't know if I can commit. I commend them for sticking with it to making a game that is coming up to the caliber of that game to some extent, while still, I don't know, keeping whatever weird niche stuff EA made them have in there, I guess. It is weird, though, if you buy the edition now, that's like the Celebration Edition, I think it's called, because you have all the cosmetic items unlocked already, with the exception of a few that you do through milestones or like... arcade stuff or whatever. So the currency that you get for battles and stuff doesn't mean anything. Like you don't do anything with it. It's like another number that just goes up. Mm-hmm. You still unlock the cards for the multiplayer stuff by playing the multiplayer and leveling up that specific type of character, like Assault or whatever. But that I'll move there in a minute. So yeah, the story itself is like, I found it to be pretty interesting. Honestly, more interesting than most of the Star Wars movies that I've seen in recent years. And like kind of more in line with how I thought specifically like Solo, that movie was like interesting. It was like enough nostalgia, but with like enough new information and like enough reference of things that like made that story itself like pretty engaging. Like I thought that was probably the best movie they've made in a long time. And then this would maybe be... Like, I think this would make a good movie, more or less. It's like you're an Imperial soldier that is in a group of, like, 3 of your major, like, elite squad or whatever, but you're starting to see this theme, like, the seams of the Imperial Army and how they're sort of starting to kill their own people, or at least people that are supportive of the Imperial sort of rule set or regime or whatever. and you're starting to find out that that's not great. But you're also not really like thrilled on the rebels either. Like you don't really want to be a part of what they've got going on either. It's really just like the act that the Imperials are trying to do overall is harmful to the galaxy and the lives of innocent people. So you're more or less tasked in this position of like, well, I don't really like either side of this. However, at the end of the day, helping them will then prevent a lot of civilians or people from dying. So, I feel like that's the better route to take. And then, and yeah, it's more or less like on the onus of that character. And then, Del and it's not Yvonne. It's like Iden or something, I think is the main character's name. Iden and Del. Yeah, well, one, it's interesting already that you're like a female Imperial fighter pilot. That's already like a pretty interesting story to start from.
Yeah.
Because that's not like a side of Star Wars you would really see ever. One, seeing an Imperial army with any emotion other than vengeance or whatever is already pretty cool. And so yeah, I think it's an interesting take on a Star Wars sort of tale. And I think they do really well with it. I haven't, like I said, I still have 3 missions of the second story, which still continues this one. So I'm not sure how that transpires necessarily. But there's some cool moments in it. There's like, there's one where you save like Cloud City in one of the like Cloud Hopper, those like orange 2-seater, like what seems like a commercial vehicle, but you do a mission in it, which is pretty nice. It all runs really well, performs really well. I mean, obviously it's been out for like 3 years now, so all the performance stuff has been probably ironed out. I will say the guns and stuff definitely feel better than the first one. Like they don't all feel like the same laser gun that you're shooting over and over again. They feel a lot more unique. The impact of the laser is like better than it was before.
Yeah, for sure.
I will say the weird thing is that every gun is like incredibly accurate. Like if you aim it, you can pretty much hip fire the whole time. You don't really ever have to like aim. But I also understand this is not necessarily like, it's not that realistic competitive thing that, Battlefield is or Call of Duty or something like that. Like it's definitely more focused on fun. And as I was telling you too, is like, this is like probably the best Star Wars game I've played in a really long time. Maybe even ever, which is surprising to say. But I think I won't say ever because the first Battlefront is definitely a better version, I think, in general. But it is that thing where like if you take all the diplomacy and all the inner workings of Star Wars out of Star Wars, like at the end of the day, it's just big fights over and over again. So putting yourself in that big fight is like really enjoyable, and like the multiplayer is really fun. Like some of those matches go on for quite a while. Like one of them I did was like 40 minutes of like we went back and forth on sides like a couple different times, which felt like a fight, I guess, more or less. I would say the only thing I don't necessarily love is like because of having to unlock the perks for the characters. Like none of them are like overwhelming, but some of them are like, hey, every time you kill someone, you get 40 health immediately, which if you only have like 300 or whatever, that's like a fairly substantial portion, or whatever. So getting to the point where you've unlocked all those is like a little tough. And plus everybody has been playing this game for quite a long time. They've already got all that shit. So that's like a bit jarring, I guess, with that. But yeah, I mean, the environment stuff's all great. Like it runs really well.
I've played quite a bit of the multiplayer of the game. I just never played any of the campaign, and yeah, like especially compared to like the old Battlefronts, like this one I think holds a candle to that stuff pretty well. Especially because I think the other games have like obviously at this point dated, but like you can still appreciate the mechanics. But like this doesn't have like fighting the NPCs in the map. You're just fighting like each other, I believe.
Right. They did add you could set up your own battles though now. So you can do ones just with bots if you want to, which I did do fairly often in Battlefront 2 just cuz especially when the servers weren't online anymore. If you wanted to even get it close to that experience, that's how you had to do it. So they did put that in there, which is cool. And then it's got a lot of the stuff that Battlefield has, like as far as like the spawn on your squad and squad mates, enemies, and then all the point squad, all of that stuff to coincide with that. I found most of the classes to be pretty fun. I haven't actually played the officer one, which is whichever one you have a pistol.
That's the one I actually like the most.
Oh yeah,
it's so you get like buffs and you can like deploy turrets and stuff like that. But
I was wondering because I would see like these extra yellow health bars come up and some stuff on the ground that you could stand in and other things. I guess I assumed that was what that was, but I didn't know who did that.
Yeah, you get like damage buffs and you can increase their health and like their rate of fire, and then like you can throw shields down and like block enemy fire and shoot through the shields, stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, very cool.
Yeah, good shit. I like the officer a lot. I typically in games like this, I like playing the support classes because like you do get rewarded pretty well for helping your team, and I find that stuff is like because not a whole lot of people play those classes, so. You end up feeling a little bit more contributable to the team. So,
yeah, I usually play like the medic in Team Fortress when I would play that game. That or the jockey, I guess, whatever the shotgun guy is. I can't remember his name. It's been such a long time.
Oh, the scout.
Scout. There you go. So jockey. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, hey, that's another Valve game. Or another Valve character, I guess, in one of their games. But yeah, I don't know. It does have a really good way of making you feel like that. And then when you see like a Jedi or someone on the field, you're like, oh, fuck, that sucks. I got to get away from that guy because obviously he's way stronger than everybody. And killing a Jedi or one of the hero characters feels really good, I guess, because you're like, hey, that guy could have just destroyed everybody. And like, I think that's the other thing is like some of those guys do feel like a little too strong. Like, there is some guy that played Darth Maul the entire match. Like, there was nothing that was going to stop this dude. And granted, it could be by virtue of just his ability with that character or whatever, but it seemed a little insane. Like, some of those were, like, really...
I found Emperor Palpatine very obnoxious because he does this, like, huge lightning attack, and, like, there's nothing you can do to avoid it, really.
Yeah, fair enough, yeah. I thought the dodge roll was cool that everybody had a dodge. I thought that was really neat.
The mechanic
also seeing
go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just seeing like he ran away from it, but seeing two like people with lightsabers fight on a thing is you're also like, oh yeah, this is a cool little deal. Like again, because it's not, I don't know, it's typical of a Star Wars movie to some extent. You're just like watching this huge fight, and this is a gripping kind of battle between two powerhouses or whatever. These dudes are for whatever reason just completely avoiding each other. But I think. Yeah, I think it's really neat for what's going on there. And again, as someone who only really likes Star Wars for the aesthetic, but also likes Battlefield games and stuff of that nature. I mean, comparing it to Battlefield 4, which we played like the night before this, I definitely like this game a lot better than that one. Like I was having way more fun with this game than that, and I have been a Battlefield, well, someone that championed it over Call of Duty for years, I guess, would be the way to say it. Is like when people are like, "Oh, Call of Duty is coming out," I'm like, "Yeah, but what about Battlefield though?" Yeah, well, it was just that thing of like 65 people and 65 people with fucking buildings blowing up and all this other shit and getting vehicles, and you're like, "This is cool. This is a fight. Like this is a big battle kind of deal or whatever." Whereas Call of Duty was more, I don't know, seemed very small scale, obviously, I guess, compared to the large scale, which is by definition what those games are, but.
What I was gonna say real quick is the one mechanic I like about this Battlefront game, and I think the first one had it as well, is that you can kind of use like currency you're earning during the match to purchase like specialist units. So you can do like assault troopers and like more upgraded like I like buying the droids and playing as the droids in some of the maps.
Oh well, that was what I was gonna say too. Yeah, that. Which I mentioned to you earlier, also off camera, but like the time where there was like a big firefight in a hallway at a choke point, and having three of us roll in as the Doorkickers and then just unravel and put shields on and then just blast down that hallway was like, fucking cool. Like that was like that's one of those things where it's like, man, what a cool ass moment, and being the droid is cool. And I think too, like. I could see it as a downside because there was another thing where it's like I always kind of wanted to play as the droids because I really liked their classes a little bit better. And it's not that most of the classes have like a similar equivalent, But I do think it is cool that the fights are time specific. So it's like, hey, in this one you're clones, in this one you're these guys, stormtroopers in this one, as opposed to whatever. Like they're all time appropriate for the Star Wars lore or whatever that you're battling in that setup, and I think that's really neat as well.
Yeah, I like the scenarios that make sense, like to the movies or like to the timeline, I guess. But like, there is something to be said that you're like Luke Skywalker fighting like Kylo Ren, like young Luke Skywalker, stuff like that. Like it opens it up to like some weird, like crossover fantasy stuff, I guess.
Actually, that was the other, man, General Grievous just ran through there like a son of a bitch. Did you see that? He just spider walked through there like an asshole, and there he goes, just dying. That's pretty good. I played his BB-88 for whatever the hell that thing is, that little ball from the new movies. Dude, he's a fucking monster, and no one even notices that you're there. It was crazy. I went like 35-0 in like a round just playing as that guy before someone noticed, and then just like I had a group like power attack me or whatever, a bunch of them. But you're just going around just annihilating people. Like that guy is a monster. It was really crazy how because I just saw him pop up as an option. I was like, well, I'll play as this stupid thing. Let me see what that is, and then just slaughtered people. It was crazy. But yeah, man, this game is really cool. I'm a little bummed now that they've stopped updating it. Like the last update for it came out this year, which is a little bit of a shame. Battlefield 5 both have done with updates, but it's 3 years, so I get it.
Yeah. There's got to be like something else on the horizon for this. Like I can't imagine this will be the last one, and like they can do it better out of the gate next time. Because like that was the big controversy about this game, was like all the monetization and like the pay to win aspects
it was shitty.
of it, and it
was super shitty. That's why obviously that's why I didn't play it when it came out. I heard about all that and was already not big enough a fan of Star Wars to go, I gotta do this.
I mean, they're giving this game out for like dirt cheap at times now, and I think it's like
it was $12, I think, for the complete edition. Yeah, I've had easily more than $12 worth of fun just now, and I haven't even really jumped into the arcade stuff and the other things. There was one more thing I wanted to note about it, I guess. What was I going to say though? Yep, can't remember. Cannot remember. Maybe it'll come to me eventually.
It'll come to you in the middle of us talking about another game that we played together.
This game's super fun though, man. I really like this one.
Dude, yeah. Like I got grabbed by this game in a way that I did not think would happen.
Yeah, that's been all the games this week for me. Has just been like, wow, I can't believe it. What is this? Huh? What an interesting. Okay, cool. I'm glad I'm enjoying this.
I'll just say during the and this is console, whatever, you'll get the same kind of.
Well, it has crossplay, which I didn't realize. That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
because that was an Xbox symbol and a PlayStation when it came up.
This is Hunt Showdown. We alluded to it last week. I mentioned that I bought it for pretty cheap on the sale, but I kind of wanted to put some time into it. This game is fucking hard, man. This game is a hard fucking time. But there's something very rewarding about it. Like, it's got that huge risk reward system where it's like you really got to be on your A game in this, is because like you have individual characters that like persistently level through like the matches you're playing, but if you die in one of the matches as that character, like they're done. You got to start from square one again, which you would think. Go ahead.
I would say you start from square one, but your account level is still there, so you can still buy all of the stuff that you would have had. You just lose like your perks, just to clarify, because it does.
Yeah.
It seems really daunting at first, because that's everybody in our Discord was just like, I don't want to play a game where you lose all that, and it's like, well, you don't lose everything. Like it's not like. Mm-hmm. Like, you still have an inventory, too. Like, if you unlock a gun, they usually give you one of that gun. So you have those there for free and stuff, too, later on. But anyway.
I have found that, like, it's some of the random characters that you get when you shuffle to buy some, like, the ones that you pay, like, the actual, like, the earned currency for when you hire them, they can sometimes come with, like, guns that are special and, like, come with, like, additional perks. Or,
they're always better than the free one. That's like part of the thing. The other thing is go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, your player level dictates like what types of guns you can purchase, but those individual characters, like, you can get a gun, like a rank 50 gun is like a rank 25, like, player level, and it's like here's like kind of a preview of a gun you can use later on in the game, like for all of your characters, which I find really cool. Like it kind of lets you experiment and play around in some aspects.
Well,
so
you can. I was gonna say to that end, you can also, as far as I know, you can keep those because you can just switch out the gun they're using, and then have that held back for later if you wanted to give it to somebody else. Because there is a weapon inventory. Because the other thing with the free character that I was gonna say is like they all have contraband weapons, so you can't sell or do anything with those. I think you can switch them out, but you can't like because you can sell extra guns and stuff that you get if you want to for the excuse me, for the currency in the game. Thank you. But you have, I don't know about on your end, but I have like, I don't know, like $200,000 or $300,000 or something in this game. So like, the money doesn't seem like an issue so far, or hasn't felt like one.
Yeah, like, so the loop of the game is like you scope out clues, you get clues up in the top left. Every third clue you like find out the location of the monster, but everybody is working toward that goal. Sometimes there's 2 targets on the map, so you can go hunt one, get the bounties, and then go hunt another one if you choose. And so it is that risk reward system of like, do we stay in the map and keep fucking things up and like hopefully we evac out, or do we just do the bounty real quick, get out, get our player levels reset, come back into a new match with this other character I just leveled. And so I like that aspect of it.
Yeah. Well, and the biggest call of this game, even from its launch, was like the sound design, and like that's a huge player in this game opposed. I mean, in most competitive games, that's some element, but this is like there's a huge emphasis on it, like, you know, crows moving or glass on the ground, or just hearing, you know, dirt rattle or creatures moaning at stuff. Like everything is some kind of tell of something, which I think is pretty neat here, as opposed to, I don't know. It's just something to note, I guess, rather than anything
for
else.
sure.
It's like it's just really well put together with that.
Yeah, because what happens is like you get funneled into a single building to fight the big target monster, and once you are done fighting it, you do like kind of, I think it's banishing or something like that. Like you banish the monster.
Yeah, you banish it. Mm-hmm.
And like it counts up from 1 to 100%. And so people on the map know that something's starting to be banished, and they can look up in the air and see like a huge storm, like where the banish is happening. So what you want to do is you want to defend the bounty tokens that are dropped from the banished creature. So you end up crouching around in like the room where you killed the creature, hearing for people approaching, and that's where the sound design comes into play, because like a group of crows could like get scared off and fly in the distance, and you hear that. A cage full of like chickens, or a cage full of dogs, or like a mob of zombies like getting aggroed to something, and like if you hear those noises, you know, like, okay, somebody's fucking coming. And then you can also like get items where you throw glass on the ground so you can hear people running over glass outside. So it's very smartly designed. I'm like kind of upset I like kind of slept on it for a little while. Because I'm not a huge fan of Battle Royale games, but this one has like
it really doesn't feel like one.
Yeah.
Is I think the biggest thing to it is it does really feel like a co-op game to some extent. Actually, just as a side note, that's what I was thinking of. There is a co-op missions in the Star Wars game they added. So there's like we should try some of those, but it's like 4-person co-op or something of like big battle things or whatever. There's like I don't know, quite a few of them. But anyway, to me this never really felt like a battle royale game. It felt like almost like I don't know if I even want to say MMO, but it did feel very much like a open world exploration game. It just happens to have PvP as a big element of it. But you can also decide to never fight anyone either, really. Because that's the other thing too, is with like saving characters and stuff. is we could effectively just go in, find clues, not get the normal bounty, and then just go extract. Like, you don't ever actually have to do the mission. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you could go kill a bunch of stuff, get all the experience, leave, and then when you've gotten like a beefy or slotted out character, obviously you get a lot more for doing that, but you don't really have to do it or engage with fighting people unless they attack you or whatever.
Yeah. Because that's the thing, like, you get experience for everything you do. So, like, collecting the clues, killing specific types of monsters in the map. So, like, big hulking leech monsters or, like, the flame enemies and or, like, the fire dudes. And then, like, everything that you kill adds up to an experience bonus at the end. So, what will sometimes happen in these pickup games that I've been doing is that, like, we'll be running to a banish, somebody gets the tokens, they already extract, and we're just in the map. And it's like, oh, well, we might as well just run around and kill things for 10 minutes and then extract, because then we get at least some type of experience for doing it.
Yeah.
I do find the PvP very engaging, though, because
guns, it's rad.
Yeah, guns are very overpowered in this game, because it's like...
Well, they're realistic, I guess, is really the thing.
Because you'll get one shot by like hand cannons. You'll get one shot from like silenced pistols. Like it's very.
A headshot is a headshot. Like if you get hit in the head, that's it. I will say to that end too, the mechanics of all the guns are also very particular. It's like you have to. There's no like auto reload or anything. Most of them you have to manually load in bullets. Like if it's a 6-shooter, you got to reload every single one. There's the class that I end up playing a lot of, and I think it may be universal, but I've mostly played this one, so it's harder to say, but it has like 2-stage aiming. Like you have hip fire, then you have like a aimed hip fire, and then you have like a scoped fire. So it's like you can basically, you're not necessarily cycling, but there's a different button for every one of them, but it's like you have to like first do the aimed hip and then do an actual like aimed fire thing. I kind of wish that was different, but I do sort of understand why it's that way. And then there's also, like, I just recently got a rifle that has a bayonetta on it, so I never have to pull my knife out anymore, and I can do all of the same melee stuff, and that's, like, huge. Like, because I would have to switch every now and then, but now it's just like, nope, no matter what, you can melee with this thing the same way you could otherwise.
My favorite gun I've used so far is a compact rifle, and there's one that I got that had an axe on the end of it. So
yeah.
You know, it's a pretty long range rifle, but it's just like in the form of like a hand cannon or like sawed off shotgun. But yeah, it has a little axe on it, so you just melee with that instead of pulling out the knife, which one saves you from having to have a knife in your slot, which you can use for other equipment, or just a good in conjunction to use with another melee weapon. There are melee weapons too, like there's like machetes and lances and things you can equip. Yeah, it takes the place of your like handgun. Yeah, there's or a perk later on. I guess rather, but there's a perk later on that I'm really wanting, which is called Quartermaster, which lets you like equip a medium into any slot, so you can have like a long rifle and a medium instead of just a medium and a small, which seems good. But yeah, that's all I really got to say about the game. I've enjoyed it quite a bit. You and I had some trials and tribulations.
We had trip wins, I think. It was like 3 back-to-back wins.
We did pretty good. We did really good. Toward the end there.
I guess the last thing I'll say, too, is aesthetically, it also, I love the way that it looks. Like, it feels like almost like Resident Evil 4 set in a bayou almost, but like if you had...
Yeah.
Solid, or I don't know. It feels like almost like a Resident Evil game with the grossness of everything.
Yeah.
Because then there'll also be like horses that are cut in half, but they'll still neigh whenever you get to them because they have like all these weird leeches and stuff in them and some other shit, and like rabid dogs and stuff. But and again, that's the other reason I wish there was almost more single player stuff, because I like the world so much. But it is always. It's like two-sided. Like, I would like more of that, but I also don't know if that would alleviate all of the tension of the game to where it's like not as exciting to be played because everyone else will be gone. But I do wish there was more either like narrative driven or co-op stuff just in the world itself, because I'd like to just explore the world a bit more and see all of it instead of just having to sort of run and gun or carefully go from one place to the next. But yeah, it's super cool. I'm glad this game is still going, like, and that people are still playing it, because I think it's really interesting, and I like to see more of what happens with it.
I got it for $20, which I thought was a very good price to get into it. I
think that's what it was when I bought it in early access like a while back. I think its initial price was $20.
Yeah, so if you're at all interested in what we've talked about, check it out, especially on a sale. I think honestly, like, well, I don't know. I didn't pay the full price, so I can't say if it was worth the full price or not. But
I think if you have a group of people that consistently would play this together, it's definitely worth $40. If you're not sure if anyone else will play this with you, or if randoms are the thing, then $20 makes more sense, I think.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, if you had a group of 3 that you guaranteed were like all into this idea, then I think $40 is totally fair for what's there. But it
has an intensity that I haven't experienced in other battle royale type games.
Well, it's weird because even though there's like definitely people with better stuff and whatever, you do always feel like you have a chance. I guess, like, it, even though skill is involved, it still does very much feel like, I don't know, it doesn't feel like you need all the time in to be great at this game. Like, you can really get a handle on, I don't know, if it's one of the most fair feeling battle royales for some reason. I don't know why that is.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I don't know why, but it feels like everyone has the same set of limitations that limit everybody in the same way, maybe. I don't know. It's really interesting.
I agree with that.
Yeah, but I really like it. Hey, if Cyberpunk is buggy mess, then maybe this is what we do this weekend instead of.
Yeah.
We should still anyway. Honestly, take a little breather and play some of this or some Battlefront or something.
Yeah, I'm definitely down with that. I mean, yeah, the last game I was gonna talk about, but I'm honestly in no position to talk about it.
I started it this weekend as well, but I've only made maybe. I got my horse and got to the first campfire. I got to the city, the first city, and then I hopped off.
That's 1% of this game, apparently.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think I'm anywhere near qualified, and I've honestly, because I played the demo earlier, so I've been skipping all the dialogue, realizing now I don't have any idea what's happening in this game. So I'll probably have to start over again.
Yeah. I mean, the big thing is it's on Game Pass. Came out. We're talking about Dragon Quest XI, by the way.
Oh, right. We should. Yeah. I forget that everyone can't see what I can see.
It's pretty good. I have enjoyed the first 4 hours of the game that I played, but I'm basically still in the parts of like the demo that I played on the Switch. I've never been a huge JRPG like turn-based fan, but like I find like the origins of Dragon Quest like very appealing. And the game itself is pretty fun. This video does not have anything going on.
Well, this is like the demo again, it looks like.
Yeah, it's like the very beginning of the game.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'll have more to say about this at some point. It's just also reading that like it can be like an 80-hour game when we're like staring down the barrel of the biggest game of the year.
The 80-hour game? Or the 100-hour plus game of the year? Yeah, the thing is like I know in my heart I will never finish this game. So I'm not even sure why I start it. Like it's one of those things where like I think the world is really gorgeous, and I think all the enemy designs are super funny and interesting. Like they're just really neat, and the animation
story is
really
actually pretty good so far too. Like I'm actually kind of digging it.
That's fair, like and I've skipped it, so I have a different issue there, which is obviously not the ideal way to play any JRPG is to skip the story. But yeah, I just know in my purest heart I will never finish this game or even come close to it. So I don't even know why I begin it. In a lot of ways.
Who knows? Maybe we play Cyberpunk. It's the worst piece of shit game ever, and I'll jump back into Dragon Quest at some point. I do really want to play it. I had a lot of fun playing the demo on the Switch, but one thing I mentioned to you off camera is that like these days I just don't find myself wanting to like play like JRPGs like that unless I'm playing them on a Switch, like, to be honest with you.
Honestly, any like turn-based game, really, I want the Switch instead. I mean, maybe it's growing up with like Advanced Wars and Fire Emblem and all that shit, and maybe that's why, but yeah, like any tactics or turn. Oh, it's like Final Fantasy War of the Lions and A2 and all those.
Of course, yeah, but those all still kind of have an element of the turn-based nature of those games.
Well, I like tactics games more than I like turn-based games, even though tactics are technically turn-based.
It's like an evolution of that, yeah.
Yeah, I've just always liked tactics stuff instead, because I love Fire Emblem, and again, I wish the Three Houses ran a little bit better on the Switch. It's the same thing with every Switch game. But yeah, I definitely prefer the handheld variant of all games of that caliber. Just
for sure.
I don't know. It just feels better. Like Persona again, bring it to the Switch.
Like, I don't know, if I saw Dragon Quest on the Switch for sale, like I got it for a decent price, even though it's on Game Pass, I'd probably prefer to play it on the Switch. I'm kind of there, so.
I'm glad they gave me a demo, because then I at least got the taste and then go, I'm never going to finish it. Same with Octopath Traveler. That was one I really wanted to play, and then I played about, whatever the demo was, and I was like, I'm never going to finish this game. For
sure. Yeah, I played the demo, like 3 of the 8 characters, and I was like, yeah, I think I got my fill. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hopefully, what's its face that's coming around the corner, Bravely Default 2. Yeah, that'll be the one where I finally am like excited to play a Switch game, but again, I don't know, because I don't know.
Yeah, I need to
play the demo, because there is a demo out already. I should just play through that. I have it downloaded.
I think when Cyberpunk subsides, because I have picked up Bravely Default here and there, like since I talked about it like a month or so ago. I've picked it up here and there and like played it while I'm having a smoke break or something, but I enjoy that game, but maybe I'll sink my teeth deeper into it after all the Cyberpunk stuff dies down. We shall see.
I'm hoping to get really pulled into Cyberpunk, though. I'm really praying that I can.
Same.
Like,
we'll talk
would you look at that? Dragon Quest right there.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
I was trying to find the happens. One. Yeah. Oh, well, and then Cyber Troopers. I mean, Cyber is right there in the title.
Yeah, these are games that came out over the years the same day. So this is Tuesday, which is going to be the Wednesday of the week that's reflected here.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've come through this a little bit earlier, and besides like the Dragon Quest... Mega Man Battle Network. There's another one.
How does it always fucking happen?
It's so cool. I like doing this part of it because it just seems like it always circles back around.
I know. Yeah, Shin Megami Tensei Persona 4. Look at that. There's one. It is.
Sonic Unleashed. Remember we talked about Sonic?
No, we didn't. We never did. We never will again. I'm so tired of talking about Sonic the Hedgehog.
I must have blacked out.
Your mind sometimes creates fantasies,
Did you ever? Are you into Harry Potter at all? Like at all?
My partner is very into it. I have played the games on PS2. Okay. So I have played some of those, yeah, because I didn't care for the movies or the books, but it's a game, so I was right there.
I was actually pretty into the Sorcerer's Stone and like those first couple PlayStation.
The first one, yeah, games. They were cool.
They were pretty decent.
Then they turned them into cover-based shooters where your wand was a fucking machine gun somehow.
Yeah.
And then I sort of, then I was like, oh, there's really straying from God's light, and I can't be a part of this anymore. Yeah. I don't want to play Gears of Potter, dog. I'm good.
Do you remember, like, the Hobbit video game by any chance? Like, not the Hobbit.
No, there's one I don't know anything about. No, I haven't played that.
Okay.
I played some of the Lord of the Rings games, because there's that one really good one. Where you and then the Assassin's Creed Lord of the Rings games were good. I can never think of the names of those, but
this was
shit. You know what? I did play this game. I take that back. As soon as I saw that stupid fucking face, I knew I played this game.
Yeah, I actually kind of had a fondness for this rough ass game too.
Damn,
as a kid, anyway. Yeah, this was like because the Sorcerer's Stone and like Chamber of Secrets games remind me of this in a way because it's like this is almost what those Harry Potter games were. It was like a platformer and like kind of like the Lord of the Rings games were all swords and magic, and then you have this. So
yeah, I was gonna say as a kid, and it still holds true to this day because I have a weird obsession with like backpacks and bags. But any character that had a satchel or backpack or whatever, I was in 100% as a child. I think it comes from watching Indiana Jones growing up a lot. I think, but it was like this game caught my attention. Croc Legend of the Gobos did. Because of that, he had a little fucking backpack on, and then Bard's Tale specifically, I remember very distinctly because he had a huge fucking backpack with a bunch of shit in it, and for some reason I was like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm in. I don't know why I love them so much to this day, but for some reason,
yeah.
Tony Hawk, I always plays Chad Muska because he had a backpack, but I don't even really like Chad Muska, but he had a backpack. Had a fucking backpack.
Ni no Kuni.
Yeah, Dragon Quest 5 or Dragon Quest 1 or whatever.
Yeah.
What? Have you actually two things? Have you played Lara Croft in the Temple of Osiris?
No, that's like the more puzzly, like top-down game, right? It was like pretty. Okay.
It's the more Diablo style game. It's like a top-down puzzle oriented, but it's like you're shooting. There's like different characters. Like you play as like Lara Croft, and then Aztec gods or some shit is like another character.
Good?
But he also uses machine guns. Yeah. Me and Thomas played through it a little bit. We recorded a video. We never put it up, though, but we played through a good portion of that game. It's not great. It's not terrible. It's not great.
Just middling, yeah.
Yeah. The first one was better than the second one, I think, but the second one expanded on the first one a lot. Now, here's the thing. My other question is, what is Vehicle Simulator? Is that just every vehicle on the planet? Is that everything that's possible? What is Vehicle Simulator? It seems so generic. Okay, here we go.
I mean, is this it? This seems not it at all.
That seems like not a game, really. That just seemed like a weird page to order stuff. Vehicle Simulator on Steam. It is. Oh, that was the same game. Yeah, that's the same image there.
It's just odd that this page says 5 years ago, but this Steam page is from 2009.
Well, maybe they're still updating it. Let me see when the update history. Let me look at that real quick. May of 2019, version 2.7.5. So,
okay,
updated mid last year and nothing this year though, unfortunately.
What a game. We might.
Look, Essential Planes, Helicopters, Gliders, Boats, Scenery, and South European Scenery Collection. Those are all free downloads on the DLC front, so you don't even have to. People seem to be enamored with this.
We might actually have to do a whole third part for this.
What is this?
For this podcast.
Is this on the screen?
We might have to do a whole third part tonight, just so I can talk about Sonic the Hedgehog.
Why is this here?
Honestly, man, this cutscene's dope. This cutscene's dope. Like, we can watch this whole cutscene if you want. It's really cool. If you take the part at the end out where he turns into the werehog.
I'm sorry, did you say werehog?
Yeah, I said werehog. Okay. Sonic Unleashed was on the list, so
I just wasn't sure if you had a speech impediment or not. Are you sure it's on the list? Are you sure this was on here?
I'm positive. I mean, you can pull it up because I'm busy watching the cutscene now. Like,
right, you're getting all greasy and horny.
I'm getting a little sweaty over here, dude.
Screen.
No, I'm not gonna lie. This shit looked dope, and then the game came out, and it was a fucking pile of shit. Like, that was the most. Like, I felt heavy betrayal.
Yeah, they always made cool cutscenes. Like, remember that one when he made out with a human woman? That was awesome.
That was in game. That was in engine. That wasn't a cutscene. They held hands plenty of times, but
they Frenched on camera, dog. In cutscene.
Okay, well, not my Sonic.
And then you got that sick ass Silver the Hedgehog fight that was the most frustrating fight of any boss in any game ever made.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to knock them on their cinematics. They've always been pretty decent. I mean, running around the speed of sound, right? Follow My Way Home. Everybody knows. I mean, everybody's heartbeat goes to that song. We know.
It's just they never capitalize. I mean, up until I think recently with Mania, but that's about it. I just
again,
I thought there was going to be
else.
a good game here, and that was the most disappointing part. Is like
I think Sonic Generations is still the best Sonic game.
Oh, dude, Generations is great. But
yeah,
I don't
that game's
consider
amazing.
I
That's
consider
their
it fairly
best
old
first
at this
party
point.
game.
Yeah. God, man, they could have done so much. They
did do too much. They turned him into a fucking werewolf.
This is just very upsetting to watch.
Yeah, it is.
I'm just gonna skip to the part where it happens because it's just. I have to sit through it. So do you. Here we go. Look at him. Look at him.
I would love it if he just turned into Donkey Kong. And then this is just a This is just a trailer for Smash. Is what this is.
Yeah.
He turns into Donkey Kong, and this is just a Smash trailer right here.
Turns into a shitty game mechanic.
And who's that? His uncle, I guess. His abusive uncle. Is that the guy up there blowing smoke? What is his deal?
That was for some
Why
reason,
did his shoes change? Sorry, I'm just curious. Why did when he transformed his shoes change?
I can't explain it.
I'm just really confused on the mechanics of this creature here.
It's just like what trips me up is that like Dr. Robotnik is always like summoning these ancient like fucking like chaos agents and fucking like very Lovecraftian horrors just so he can build amusement parks.
He's always sinning.
Dude, it's very weird. It's very weird. Like, hey, I'm summoning this fucking Daedric horror. Also, I want to build a theme park as a planet. Like, what the
What? Yeah, well, yeah, there you go. I mean, he's crazy. You know, he's a mad scientist. But what? Actually, you know, I've never seen this motherfucker do any science. I've never seen him do anything scientific. Everything's already ready and built, and then he just sort of steals a thing or is going to get a thing. But I've never actually seen him do science.
Well, do you have 20 minutes? Do you have like 20 minutes like that I can tell you about the lore and like why that might be the case? Because I could do that.
Is it a rich dad or something? Did he inherit all of this from somebody else?
You're close. You're very close.
Oh, am I really?
Yeah. Actually.
Okay. Somehow that doesn't surprise me.
It's a sad thing. No, I'm not getting into it. I'm not going to embarrass myself on camera. Like
you don't want to play all your cards right now. There's only so many. You know, each person I think only has so many interesting features about themselves, and some for you it might be Sonic lore. So you don't want to let it all go right now.
I don't
play all your cards.
Yeah, I want to keep some of those withdrawn. I want people to keep guessing.
Some mystery.
Exactly.
Yeah, I understand.
Because chicks dig men of mystery, dude. And you know what chicks also dig?
Sonic the Hedgehog fans?
No, just Sonic. I mean, the fans are all pretty terrible, but
it's the fans. They like the fans. They don't care for him as much. They really, honestly, they like Tails, and then Sonic just happens to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
And everybody really, truly, deep in their heart, wants to fuck Knuckles, dog. You know what I mean? They want to get a little Knuckles sandwich by the boy Knuckles himself, and then they want to find Rouge and put it and just go, dog, right in those bebops, them bat breaths, boy.
That's right,
them triple B's.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Why does hey? I got a question.
What's up?
Why does Rogue have massive tits? What's the point?
So we're gonna do an episode next Friday where we talk about Sonic the Hedgehog. This Friday we're gonna do some cyberpunk. Next Friday we'll talk all about Sonic. I promise that's happening.
I honestly I'll tell you this right here. If I would not be against us doing a full episode on the history of Sonic the Hedgehog or the back catalog of Sonic the Hedgehog to today. If you're interested, I will do that as well. That seems kind of fun, even though I you know what, I might save it for the episode, but I would totally do that.
I would,
because I played almost every single one of them that's come out, so.
And we can even talk about Sonic and the Black Knight, Sonic the Secret Rings. We can talk about Sonic Chronicles, the BioWare RPG on the DS.
Yeah. Sonic Dark Brotherhood, I think, is what it was, right? No, it was Dark Chronicles. You're right.
It was Chronicles Dark Brotherhood or something like that.
Yeah.
God damn.
Remember when he showed up in Mass Effect, Sonic? He came there and he was like, "Poor Krogans," and you're like, "Oh, Sonic, what are you doing here?" And he was like a weird space drunk, and you're like, he hated Krogans. He was like really racially charged against them.
Very, very weird choice.
He was like, I made up the whole Krogan genophage. And you're like, "Whoa, Sonic, that's fucked up, dude." You remember?
I do.
And he was like, "Commander Shepard, can I suck it, dude? I need some liquor money." And you're like, "Sonic, what is going on with you, my man?" I remember, dude. He was wild space drunk.
Stuck on the Citadel, man. I spent all my money on booze.
And fake and digital and robot brothels. That's Sonic.
Full circle.
Yeah, let's come. That's a callback, you guys. But yeah, well, thank you guys for watching. As always, if you're here, you found me. You can find Christian anywhere at the Deadly Robot, Twitch, Instagram, all that business. Mm-hmm. We will see you guys probably tomorrow for our cyberpunk cover or info or initial thoughts of the first 20-ish hours, I suppose.
I expect a roller coaster of emotions. I think we're gonna. We'll see. We'll see what 7 years of waiting has been made of.
That's the thing about all this is who knows outside of press. None of us know. I'm curious. I'm so deeply curious.
Yeah. As
to what this game is going to be actually, how it hits me, and is there a point to life after it's over? What are we waiting for after this ends?
We'll see. We'll definitely see.
We'll see.
Well,
and
maybe
to clarify,
then I
can... for the record, so just for curiosity's sake, you said what class are you starting out of? What background?
I'm doing the corpo. I'm doing like
are doing corporate. Okay, and I'm starting as a nomad. Just because I'm curious. One, I imagine they'll be wildly different. Anyway, but just as a baseline that we know that we're both not playing the same game.
Right.
Initially.
Because I kind of want to know, because I know eventually all three of the act ones, I guess you would call them, kind of culminate into the same story event that starts the game. So I wonder how it all gets there.
Same. So I'm very curious.
Yeah.
We don't even necessarily have to go into the initial starting stages of that stuff, although I think we probably will to some extent.
I think it'll be good to structure it like impressions first, and then because the veil will be lifted and people will have already dove headfirst in this game, maybe we can talk story stuff for the first or at the back half of the episode.
I was gonna say I think back half probably makes sense, so we can go, hey, here's the point where go away if you don't want any of this.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'll be taking notes. I'll definitely be taking notes. It's the first game that I kind of want to actually put some effort into my critique or my impressions on. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting.
I'll be trying to write some stuff down just to keep it in my memory, because I imagine I'm not going to sleep much that first day, so it's going to be a bit of a blur, but hey, we'll see.
That's video games, y'all.
Hey guys, that's video games, everybody. Y'all did it.
Go visit the robot brothel.
Yeah, go get JO'd by an RC car.